10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good evening, wrestling fans, and welcome to the Wrestle Talk Podcast. For the next 2 hours, we will bring you the latest pro wrestling news, in-depth analysis of all your favorite promotions from across the globe, and much, much more. We will also bring you exclusive interviews with the greatest professional wrestling personalities on the local, national, and international levels. If you want to follow the Wrestle Talk Podcast, check us out online at www.wrestletalkpodcast.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. And now, it's time for the reigning, defending, undisputed leader in pro wrestling podcast, the Wrestle Talk Podcast.
Good evening, wrestling fans, and welcome to the Wrestle Talk Podcast, episode 505, main event. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, and we have a main event guest on tonight. The one and only Stephen E. will be joining us tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Can't wait for that. We have one heck of a show lined up for you, and it's going to be another banger, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen. And we have got plenty of stuff to talk about. So much has happened in the past 2 weeks. You've got stuff going on in Noah, stuff going on in TNA, AEW, you name it, and we got it to talk about. New tag team champions in WWE with the War Raiders. Just so much going on. But as always, I am not here by myself, ladies and gentlemen. Not at all. So let's get him in here. He is the young lion with the old soul. He is the one and only Gabriel Larcene, ladies and gentlemen.
What's up, Wrestle Talk Podcast family? It's yours truly. Thank you for the intro, Haas. It's good to see you, man. It's been a while. I mean, I know it's only been 2 weeks, but man, we haven't been on the show in a long time. It feels like a month.
Well, actually, for us, it kind of has been a month, you know? So,
it's true. But, a lot has been happening in the world of professional wrestling. As you guys can see, I am primed and ready with my Riddle OG shirt. Always. I can see you have your championship. I wanted to mention that I do have mine. It is currently on the shelf. I might have to adjust my camera here. Newly, it's a little hard to see. It's behind the blue Attitude Era belt that I have there. But I don't want to move it because otherwise it's going to slide. And we got a bunch of action figures on there and my wife will kill me. So unfortunately, it is here in spirit. But of course, your Warriors Heart champion nonetheless. But it's been a while. I've already said that, but we got a lot to talk about here in the world of professional wrestling on the Wrestle Talk Podcast. And hopefully we will be joined with a couple more of our constituents. But Haas, before we jump into it, I think we have a little bit of business to take care of.
As always, we have got to thank our great and wonderful sponsors. We got the one and only Retro Zone sponsoring us here, and Painter's Dream Production. That's the one and only Big Daddy P. That's his company there. He stepped up, and we want to thank him. He'll be joining us later on in the show, hopefully. We've got the Independent St. Louis Hall of Fame. We've got I-70 Sports Media. That's the one and only Jeremy Carp and the guys over there, absolutely killing it. And then Little Popeye's Designs, where you can get your very own Wrestle Talk Podcast tumbler. They are in limited supply, ladies and gentlemen. Once we sell a certain amount of them, that's it. They'll be gone, just like the mug was. So make sure you get your Wrestle Talk Podcast tumbler. Just $20, an extra $5 if you want your name engraved on them. And, be sure to hit one of us up. We'll be more than happy to set you up. Plus, you pay shipping and handling and all that good stuff. But we'll get all those specifics when you order. And then, of course, the world's premier fantasy wrestling group, the FWWC. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. You already see.
I never get tired of it.
Longest reigning champion in FWWC history, period.
Not just longest reigning hardcore, longest reigning champion, period.
And then
how many days are you running on right now, Haas? What is it, 700 plus right now?
It's actually coming up on 2 years in February, I believe. And actually, we don't have anything happening before Rumble, really. So I should make it to 2 years. So, it's been a while.
Assuming you don't retire and nobody takes it, you might be giving Roman's record a run for its money.
I might have to retire. That might be the only way you get this title off of me. But we'll be talking with the CEO Dewan Mills later on in the show. Plus, I will have a very special announcement concerning FED there during the FWWC segment. So be sure to tune in for that. So I think we've hit the sponsors there. And as always, be sure to share the show. Be sure to like us and share us. And you can send us some stars, which will actually help us out. Helps us produce this great content that you get to see. And we also have a thing called a fan sponsorship here. Susie Haas was our very first fan sponsor. So if you would like to be a fan sponsor, you don't have a business or anything, but you want to step up and help sponsor the Wrestle Talk podcast, hit one of us up. We'll be more than happy to get you set up, and you can become a fan sponsor also. So thank you to Susie for that. So I think that's it for the sponsorships.
I think we've put this off long enough. I know we like to dread this moment in the Wrestle Talk podcast, or we look forward to it, depending on your persuasion. But I think it's about time that we introduce, of course, to pay tribute to the greatest country on God's green earth, and that is America, damn it. So, of course, ladies and gentlemen, if you could please take your hats off your heads, place your hands over your hearts, and let's throw it up to Roseanne Barr.
Brings a tear to your eye every time, or blood to your ears, one of the two. I think Jeremy Carp is probably having an aneurysm as we speak, ladies and gentlemen. But we always like to pay homage to our country, as well as just show you here that we do have a light side to us as well. So we're just here to have some fun. So, all right, now that we have all that, I'm just trying to see if there's anything I missed. Anything that you can think of, Mr. Arsene?
No, unfortunately, my ears are still recovering. But off the top of my head, no, I think we hit it all. So are we ready to throw it to DJ Money?
I believe we are. So let's go ahead and hit that High Spots music brought to us by the one and only DJ Money.
Mic check, mic check. Yeah! All right. Wrestle Talk Podcast. DJ
Welcome to Hot Spots, where we pop news like lamb chops. We dog shop, coming through the screens of a laptop. And non-stop like I'm running speakers of blacktop. We hit hard like chair shots and backdrops. Like a spark flash, look like a belly flop. Now that's hard. We up to speed while they stay slow. Wrestle Talk Podcast, now they know. We about to start the show.
So that theme once again provided to us by DJ Money. We want to thank him for the support there. And, you know, be sure you guys support him. Please visit his store location, 455 Bellwood Road and Georgia, or shopbrianhill.com. You know, we want to thank him for all the support. Hey, one thing I did want to mention that I forgot to overlook. If you guys happen to miss the show, you know, you always find us on Spotify, and X, YouTube, several other different platforms, but you can now catch us on Spotify. So we are now on Spotify under Wrestle Talk Podcast. So be sure to hit up our Spotify channel. If you happen to miss a show, you can catch us there on Spotify. So big things happening here for Wrestle Talk Podcast. We just continue to grow, ladies and gentlemen.
We're getting a lot of reach nowadays, Hoss. It seems like we're just getting on every platform at this point. I mean, I got to start figuring out how to like add our stuff to our TikTok or something, because I know that seems like the only place we haven't hit yet.
So shout out to Luke McCarron, the voice of WDWA, you know, checking in with us. Jackson always checking in with us. Great to have you here, Jackson. And got Aaron Wallace checking in. That always brings a tear to his eye and a big headache when Roseanne sings the anthem. So I believe it's you and many others there.
He knows our pain.
So, all right. What do you say we get into some high spots here? Because there's several questions there, and I think there's some pretty good ones. So let's see what we've got going.
Definitely think we got a big problem.
And our first topic is going to be, we've got Nakamura in the New Year 2005 at Noah.
Did you pick this one, Haas? Are you sure this is randomized?
Let's see here. Where is the question? Actually, I believe this was a joint question. It's one that I put in, and then you kind of put in another question as well. There it is. Shinsuke Nakamura is returning to Noah at New Year's 2025 against Oka Sasaki. Does this make you want to watch? And what does this spell for future collaborations for WWE? So this is a two-part question. So Gabe, why don't you go ahead and you can start us off on this.
This is a big one for me, folks, only because I want everybody to go back. I want to say a couple shows ago, like prior to episode 500, when we were talking about AJ Styles versus Naomichi Marufuji. And I remember, and I called him out on this in the group chat, but Night Owl was looking at me saying that not that he didn't think anything was going to happen, but that he was like, I don't know if Noah is as big of a name as it is with this collaboration with WWE. And now here we are with Shinsuke Nakamura, the United States champion, appearing on a Pro Wrestling Noah show. I know we like to throw the word Forbidden Door a lot in the world of professional wrestling, especially in 2024, but damn it if we're not walking through it again one more time, folks, because I am so hyped for this match. And even now, I already don't even think we need to spell what future collaborations WWE is going to have. I feel like we're already seeing it in motion. So I actually shared on my page recently. I'm going to see if I can pull up the info just because I can't remember the names of the wrestlers off the top of my head, showing my hand here in terms of my unpreparedness. But there we go. So we had a Pro Wrestling Noah duo appear in NXT. So the fact that we're already seeing this, Josh Briggs and Inamura, are in the tag team division. So as we speak, we are seeing a WWE wrestler appear on Pro Wrestling Noah again, specifically a champion, and 2 Pro Wrestling Noah stars appearing in WWE. And I only hope that we get to see a very big collaboration or just potential signings. So I think this spells a fantastic year as far as what's going to happen in the world of professional wrestling when it comes to WWE and Pro Wrestling Noah. I mean, do we see a joint effort? I don't know. Do I want to see it? Absolutely. But I definitely hope this at least sees that we get a lot more cross promotion, and potentially I want to see a pay-per-view. I don't know whether that's going to be on Noah's side and we see them travel to Japan. I know WWE has done that in the past, and I don't know if that means Japanese people are going to show up here in America. All I know is I can't wait and I'm excited for it. But what are your thoughts, Oz?
Honestly, it does make me want to check it out. Looking forwards to seeing what this match brings. It does bring a lot of eyes to Noah's product. So I really do think it's a big thing for Noah, especially being that he is the United States champion for WWE. And, I think for the future, I do believe you're going to see more collaborations. I think that's a door that, AEW kicked in some time ago, and I'm happy to see it. And I think you're going to see more of it. And I think now that you're starting to see champions from other groups transcending over, you've seen TNA knockout champions on WWE. You're now seeing WWE champions on Noah. I think the sky's the limit on these crossovers now. And I think it just means better wrestling for the consumers. And I think that, all the fans should be looking forwards to what is to come out of this. So I'm definitely excited to see where it goes from here.
I'm sorry. I'm overwhelmed thinking about it. Like, I'm glad you picked this question first, or excuse me, it was randomized first, but for me, I'm a huge nerd when it comes to Japanese wrestling. Okay, I know a lot of American fans want to sit here and talk about, I don't know who this guy is. I barely even know who Nakamura is. Well, you need to open up the textbooks, yo. You got to really start informing yourself on who these dudes are, because King's Road style wrestling goes hard and it hits different people. And it hits especially different when it comes to some of these guys, because we have people. I'm just pulled up some of the roster right now, and if you don't recognize some of these names, that's fine, but you definitely got looking into it. We got Masato Tanaka, Muhammad Yone, Marufuji. I've already talked to hell and back. I mean, this man is amazing. And even Yoshitatsu is over there. I forgot he was still wrestling. I thought he was just on commentary, but I would absolutely adore to see a joint collaboration. I don't know whether we would see a main roster or a NXT collaboration. Either way, I am just excited. And if we could see potential interpromotional pay-per-view, that'd be even better. But I think I've already, sung its praises already to this point, and you can tell I'm going to be buying this pay-per-view. But
yeah, I'm definitely interested in seeing it myself. So, Jackson Shinsuke is going to lose United States Championship soon, because WWE is never going to know how to use him, which that has been an issue with WWE. They do have a problem knowing how to use a lot of people. And
my biggest counter argument to that. Shout out to Assad. I wanted to say my biggest counter argument to that, though, is that was Shinsuke Nakamura under the McMahon era. So I like to think that we are going to be in, and I mean the full-blown McMahon era, because I know some people want to be like, well, wasn't Triple H in charge when he was challenging Seth Rollins? It's like, yeah, but we know that, Vince was just touching and tweaking every little last thing that needs to happen. So hopefully going forward, we think that, Nakamura will be treated seriously. I personally like this new coat of paint. I don't know if you like it, but I'm all about it. I know a lot of people have been comparing him to a Sith Lord, which unfortunately, that comparison is pretty apropos. But if anybody can pull it off, the King of Strong Style can.
And Jackson thinks
said
that Moose is going to enter the 2025 Royal Rumble. That it very well could,
after that
we
tweet
have
about
seen
Tessa
that
Blanchard,
happen before.
I could definitely see it. But after that tweet about Tessa Blanchard, I know he's going to be on the on the fence for a lot of people. But I would like to see it.
So shout out to Herb Simmons checking in. Susie seems to think Nakamura is a little demented.
A bit.
So what do you say we go ahead and see what else we got going here? There is just so much in this randomizer, and we've got a few other things coming up tonight too that I know. So we definitely want to hit a few more here.
Let's keep it rolling.
And let's see. WWE has revealed a fresh series titled LFG, which is Legends and Future Greats, on A&E. But do we genuinely need another reality show from WWE? That is an interesting question.
I think the
honestly,
phrasing of the question is pretty interesting. But do you want to take the lead on this one, huh?
Honestly, I am not excited to see another reality show from WWE. I think a lot of people like WWE for the wrestling. Then they started doing the documentaries, and I think people kind of liked them for a little while, but I think they're kind of starting to fall off a little bit, at least in my opinion. I don't know that as many people are watching them. Then they had the Lost Treasures, and I'm not sure that really went over quite as well as they thought it would. And then then they came out with the one with the feuds, and I don't think that one kind of went over the way they thought it would, although they gave them all more than one season. As a matter of fact, the one is coming back again, I think. And then they actually did a show similar to this on, was it Netflix? It wasn't on Peacock, I don't think. Anyway, it was like it was something like WWE Next Up or something like that, where they actually had people come in and it showed them trying out, and then it showed them going through training and being coached, and then it showed from there how many of them were invited to get an NXT contract. And kind of after that, I don't think you saw a whole lot of them. Now, if you watch WWE Leveled Up, you will see some of the people. I've seen a couple of them that were on that series on Level Up. I'm not sure really any of them have made an NXT name for themselves yet, though. Which I know that kind of takes a little while too. So some of them still could, but I think there's only 2 or 3 of them that are still left out of that series that is still even in NXT. So I don't know that people really want more of these series, and that's just my personal opinion. They like the wrestling. They really do like watching the wrestling, but I don't know that they want to know all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes. It kind of takes the mystique away from some of it, and how much can you put out there before you go bust? You know, that's just me.
I will give you that. I want to try and attempt to play devil's advocate only because I feel like everybody in the comment section agrees with you. And only that the sense that I do like this kind of stuff. So do we genuinely need another reality? Survey says no. But does the title honestly makes me curious is my whole thing, is that it says legends and then future I don't even understand. Now I'm the one with the waiting music. But legends and future what? I is it future stars or generations? I need to check this now.
It's legends. Hold on. Legends and future. Let me find the overlay again.
Great.
There it is.
There we go.
Legends and future greats.
Live shows, ladies and gentlemen. No, legends and future greats. That's the part that makes me curious as to see where the comparisons seem to come in. You know, because I feel like wrestling, as I've said, is cyclical. I think a lot of stuff that we see in wrestling, a lot of things that we see from legends work their way back into wrestling, you know, for our future greats, the people that we can look at and say, wow, yeah, this guy's going to be something. So I do think from a analytical perspective that this show could be interesting. But in the case of like viewership and stuff like that, I mean, I also wanted to mention that you said some of those shows got a season 2. Yeah, a lot of times that's contractually obligated. That's not because of viewership. That's because they said, all right, you get 13 episodes and a second season. And then that's it.
Basically, what WWE is saying when they released the information about this show is WWE LFG will offer viewers an inside look at the rigorous training process featuring iconic WWE legends such as Paul Triple H Levesque and Shawn Michaels, and weekly regular coaches Undertaker, Booker T, Mickey James, and Bubba Ray Dudley as they mentor a generation and weekly matches on their quest to become the next WWE superstar. Executive producers for WWE, Paul Triple H Levesque, fitting, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, so basically it's just going to take you through how these people actually become a superstar. And it's from, like I say, I believe the show that they had was like Next Up or something like that. It wasn't the Tough Enough show though.
Which it's funny you mentioned that, because we got a lot of people here who say they don't want this show. We got a lot of people here who are advocating for WWE to just bring back Tough Enough. So it's funny you mentioned that.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find here.
Well.
Hey. I'm live here in living color here on the Wrestle Talk Podcast. Gentlemen, I'm going to tell you right now, as we talk about right here, and again, we're talking about the question here regarding to the new A&E document here. And guys, I got to tell you, what more are we going to get from the WWE? I mean, that's just my view of it, real simple and to the point. What more are we going to get from the WWE? We got Saturday night's main event. We're soon to get the Royal Rumble, and now we're getting even more. Gentlemen?
Yeah, the show I was thinking of is called WWE Next Gen, and it took place on the Roku channel. So that's the show I was thinking of that this show is putting me in mind of. And I don't think a lot of people heard of that just because of the network that it was on. But I don't think we need another show.
Haas, I think you're missing the big point here, is that Luke Skywalker is here with us.
I am here. And guys, I got to tell you right now, it's been a happening week in the world of pro wrestling. I mean, again, we had Saturday night's main event. We're going to be talking a little more about that as the show goes on. But I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about a little thing called AEW Collision, and we can see it right up here on the screen. First of all, I want to give a shout out to our great friends over at Interstate 70 Sports Media. If you haven't had a chance, make it a point to stop on over and check out their interview with Chris Statlander from AEW. I know that that was an interview that was put together not just by Interstate 70 Sports Media, but our friends also at the Falls Country River Podcast, ourselves, and actually, matter of fact, another interview that took place along those same lines. My good friend Doug Jenkins from WBGZ Radio in Alton, Illinois, had and also had a great interview with Chris Statlander going into Collision. And guys, I want to give a shout out before we get too much farther along. Thank you, Assad, for kind of leading into this. I want to give a very big shout out and a thank you to all of the management and staff of AEW. I'm going to tell you right now, from top to bottom, a great night of pro wrestling action. Saw a lot of familiar faces, both inside and outside the ring. And guys, I'm going to tell you, from the very beginning, from the opening match, the dark match, as some say, all the way to the end of the ROH taping, there was nothing to be left out. And I got to tell you, for the most part, I was very happy with the events that were going on. Guys, I know you had the opportunity to catch Collision this past weekend. I believe you both had the opportunity now to catch Collision. I want to go ahead and also, while we're at it too, if any of our fans want to go ahead and chime in here, I know a lot of them have caught Rampage, they've caught Dynamite, they've caught Collision. If you have any questions, you have any comments, any kind of input, please make it a point to share it, because we're going to take just a few minutes and talk about AEW here in the High Spot segment. Gentlemen, any questions about Collision? Anything going on in the world of AEW that I might shed a little more light on this evening?
Just how was it? Like, I just imagine. Okay, well, actually, let me clarify. Was the crowd as empty as people make it out to be?
You know, Arsene, that is a really, it's kind of a tough question, because to me, did they have as many people as they were expecting? I don't think so, but it wasn't really a disappointment in my eyes. A lot of seats were filled. I mean, I wasn't, as they say in the old metaphor, it wasn't a backside every 18 inches, so to speak. But I mean, again, a lot of great matches. And again, to give you an idea, from the very beginning, they had Serpentico taking on Sidney Hakim. And for those that are familiar in the St. Louis area, Sidney Hakim, formerly known as Reginald or Reggie in the WWE, great matchup there. And again, Assad was taking care of things on Wednesday night in KC. And again, I had an opportunity to listen to that too and watch it. It was a great show. But I mean, when you sit there and you look at it from top to bottom, Arsene, I know you're big talking about Wrestle Dynasty, which is going to be coming up over the New Japan's Wrestle Kingdom weekend. And Willow Nightingale punching her ticket. But surprisingly enough, as we look at things right now, I think the biggest thing coming out of that matchup was the return of Julia Hart. And again, literally dropped Jamie Hayter and left her laying in the middle of the ring. Another one in the Continental Classic, which surprised me, was the reaction of the fans to Mortos, the Beast. Very interesting reaction going against Okada. Shazza McKenzie, a local face here in St. Louis, took on Tony Storm. Top Flight versus Action Andretti and Lio Rush. Gentlemen, I got to tell you right now, if you get a chance and you watch Collision, or even if you didn't watch Collision, make it a point to go back and please, in the comments somewhere over the next hour and a half, please tell me what in the world Action Andretti and Lio Rush were wearing. I don't know what it was, but it was just bizarre. I will tell you, though, I really did like the continuity of the team of Andretti and Rush. Chris Statlander taking on a longtime favorite of the Wrestle Talk podcast, the one, the only Tootie Lynn. And guys, I know I had an opportunity to correspond with you during the event. The 10-man tag, a lot of people in this matchup, but on one side you have the MXM Collection and the Premier Athletes taking on now check this team out. Commander, Orange Cassidy, the Outrunners, and Daniel Garcia. Could there have been any more of just a unique tag team than those 5 individuals? And I got to tell you, I am a wrestling purist at heart, but everybody had to get their 10 punches in the corner. Ladies and gentlemen, 41 punches on Mansoor in the corner. No, it is not a mirage. Orange Cassidy got in his 1 punch. The crowd goes crazy. A great opportunity. And then in the main event, Kyle Fletcher, Mark Briscoe, I got to tell you guys, 19 plus minutes. They weren't hedging in any way, shape, or form on time. Great matchup. I remember at one point, actually, they did a suplex off of the guardrail inside the ring, and they also took stuff from the guardrail to the outside onto the metal stairs of the seating area. Big props to Kyle Fletcher and to Mark Briscoe. I gotta tell you guys, as far as AEW goes, for Collision, really, really solid show. To me, we're gonna talk about it here in a little bit. I'm gonna kind of reserve my super kicks here for a minute. Guys, I want to ask your thoughts. Again, Hoss, I know you've got some things you want to talk about AEW too. Any of your thoughts going forward from Collision as we continue on throughout the Continental Classic tournament?
You know, actually, I haven't had a chance to actually watch Collision. I do have it on the DVR. You know, it is something that I'm going to get around to watching. But I haven't had the opportunity to actually sit down and watch it yet. So really all I have to go on is, you know, what information that you have shared with us. So I don't really have too much on that one.
Well, guys, I got to tell you right now, a lot of people around me were, and again, Jackson, thank you for sharing what you had here. I mean, a lot of people don't watch AEW, and I know that AEW is kind of an acquired taste to some, but I'm going to tell you, I wasn't really disappointed at all. I mean, I thought it was a good, solid event. The idea of a wrestling event being taped on a Thursday night kind of threw me a little bit, but overall was a good, solid thing. The one that actually surprised me was the, I can't go into huge detail because I believe it's set for air later in the week, but was the ROH taping leading into Final Battle. And if you have an opportunity to make it a point, check out ROH online. They're going to have these matches up Thursday leading into Final Battle this coming Friday. You're going to have the opportunity to see such competitors as the Murder Machines, the Iron Savages, Billy Starks and Athena. You're going to have Big Shotty Lee Johnson, Bishop Khan. You're also going to have a great couple of tag team matches on the program. And I'm going to tell you, when it comes down to it, the ROH event leading into Final Battle, I'll be honest, I haven't necessarily picked up Honor Club. I haven't picked up any of the streaming services revolving around ROH. But based on what I saw, and again, I think after watching ROH Thursday night, you will pleasantly be surprised. And again, Darby Allin going to the WWE, I don't see it happening. I think Darby is very much comfortable in AEW. Assad, I agree with you. I think Tony Khan needs to finally get rid of the streaming aspect of ROH. Hopefully they can get them some TV time in 25, because right now there's a lot of talents in ROH that's here. Jackson bringing up another one here, talking about AEW having a Hall of Fame. Gentlemen, I like your thoughts, but to me, I don't think AEW right now is, I don't want to say accredited because they're a very reputable promotion, but I don't think they have enough longevity to really justify a Hall of Fame yet. Haas, Arsene, your thoughts? Should AEW have a Hall of Fame?
You know, honestly, I don't think they've been around long enough to actually have a Hall of Fame yet. I think they need to be around a few more years and before they start considering that personally. So, no, I don't think they need the Hall of Fame quite yet.
Arsene?
See, it's a tricky question only because it depends on if it's an actual Hall of Fame or if it's just a ring and a plaque, which I know that's a bit of a sore spot for some people when we're defending the WWE Hall of Fame, and that's a whole other discussion. But I am
hold on, Arsene. Do you mean like this Hall of Fame? The Tragos Thesz Hall of Fame up in Waterloo, Iowa. Make it a point to check them out online. They just announced another award winner this year. In addition to David Crockett being recognized, they just announced yesterday that Ron Simmons will be recognized as a part of this year's Hall of Fame weekend up in Waterloo, Iowa. For more information, you need to check them out online. But remember, as Arsene was talking about, physical Hall of Fame.
But more to my point that I'm leaning with Haas on this one. I think it's still, granted, I do think AEW is a lot more established compared to where they were a couple of years ago, but I do still think they're a little too much in their infancy for a Hall of Fame to not feel, I want to say hollow, only because it's like, we're all making sure that this company is still going to be here in 2 years. So not to say that I don't think that they have any financial issues. It's more so that I want to know that their viewership is doing better. But
we know something, guys, when it comes down to it, and Hardcore Haas, I know you've been kind of keeping track on the messages. I just want to make sure, do we have any quotes or any commentary or statements from Mr. Simmons? I'm not talking Herb Simmons at SICW. And yes, Susie, I know what you're talking about, and thank you for sharing it. But Hardcore Haas, do we have any Ron Simmons quotes? And I don't know if Hardcore Haas has found anything.
Other than what Susie and Assad
well,
said.
I got to say this. And Susie and Assad, thank you for sharing it. But we have no sound effect.
Let's see.
Please tell me it's there. I thought it was. I really was. Now I'm going to be sad. We don't have the Ron Simmons sounder. I may cry. I may literally cry right here on the Wrestle Talk podcast if we don't have that on the... We don't have that? Damn! Okay, I guess that's going to have to work for now. But when it comes down to it, guys, I mean, I got to tell you this.
Or ask for that.
Yeah, but when it comes down to it, I mean, again, shout out to AEW. Again, their media department is nothing short of awesome. I mean, again, had the opportunity, several multiple different outlets for media interviews. The process of getting through everything, had a lot of unique merchandise available. They had some, again, we had one of our fans point out, they had some cool Darby Allin merchandise. They had an Outrunners t-shirt. The one thing that surprised me, and again, I'm one of those, I'm a diehard fan of professional wrestling, not sports entertainment. But when you can buy an AEW championship live at the event, it was like $850. And I'm like, I don't know, man, that's a lot of money. But I mean, again, they had all sorts of cool stuff. They had soccer jerseys. They had the long scarves that have all the cool messages on them. They had hats. They had bandanas. I mean, you name it. I mean, overall, it really was a good show. It was a good event. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you, wherever you're watching tonight, if you have an opportunity to check out AEW, I'm going to tell you right now, It's going to be a good time. It's going to be different than your WWs. And I'm going to be honest with you, it's going to be different than a lot of your local independent federations. But I'm going to tell you this. That's what makes pro wrestling so important, is because now in 2025, you've got so many different avenues of pro wrestling to watch and be involved with and grab hold of and get interest to. I got to tell you, AEW, and guys, since it's obvious Haas hasn't done it, Arsene, did you watch Collision?
No. I'm sorry. I don't even want to lie. I did want to make time for it, though. I have been trying my best to keep up with the Continental Classic. I do have the scores available. I don't know if this is updated since the event, but so far with the standings, I wanted to ask what everybody thinks might, who might be topping off here tonight. As far as matches, though, I definitely want to check out Kyle Fletcher versus Mark Briscoe. I'm a huge fan of Fletcher. I think Mark Briscoe is an absolute draw. I think he's great, and I am very curious because I heard it went down to the wire. So you can attest to this. It came down to it. So if it did, then I'm very curious. And honestly, any show that has Okada has my support in the book, just because I love Okada. I know everybody thinks that maybe he could be doing better in WWE, but I do think that his gimmick right now and where he's at works for him. And I can't get enough of him. So I will be sure you will be the first one to know when I watch Collision, but as of the moment, no, I have not.
Well, I got to tell you right now, guys, as we sit here and we look at it, I'm going to tell you, to me, out of the whole to-do, I'm going to tell you right now, from Collision, to me, I would say, again, Fletcher versus Mark Briscoe stole the show. But I think another one you definitely need to look at watching, if you haven't, is Okada versus Mordos. And it's not because Okada doesn't deliver. I think Mordos really showcased, while he really didn't step outside of what we've kind of grown accustomed to from the Beast, when it comes down to it, I really think that he had an opportunity to kind of showcase what he can do inside the ring, and I was very pleasantly surprised. Again, want to give a shout out. We saw a lot of people at the event. I saw SICW referee Nick Ridenauer was in the house. I saw Bobby D was taking in the event, also from SICW. Had an opportunity to run into Wild Child Billy Diamond and Big Time Jim Harris from the St. Louis Independent Wrestling Hall of Fame. Had an opportunity very, very, very briefly to run into my longtime friend Chris Powell, who was at the event. Patrick Brandmeier, longtime supporter of the show, was there. Again, a lot of great action, a lot of local faces too. I mean, when you sit here and you look at it, I mean, for those that are familiar here in St. Louis, even the national level, looking at it here, Sydney Akeem, Shaza McKenzie. I know Leo Rush has been in St. Louis a couple times. I know a couple of the guys from Top Flight have been. Tootie Lynn has been here. Billy Starks was there. Blair Onyx and Misa Kate were there. I got to tell you, I mean, a lot of wrestlers who've come through St. Louis recently were there. And again, you can't go wrong with AEW. I think it really was a good experience, and look forward to, I know they're hoping to come back here sometime early to mid 25 is my understanding. And I got to tell you right now, hats off to them. I think they delivered a really solid show, and I'm a pretty realistic critic. And I really think that it's one of those I would be willing to go again. Real quick here, should there be AJ Wallace? Should there be an AEW crossover? No, I think the products are too different. I really don't think that would be a wise move. I really don't see a lot more TNA crossover. I think it's getting to a point right now that the WWE has pretty much found who they want for right now, and the handful of people is who they're going to use. Assad bringing up a great question here. Are any of you guys going to AEW All In Texas? Assad, I'm going to tell you flat out. I've got a couple of other commitments right now that are still undetermined. Again, Sunday, June 22nd, is a little thing called the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame. I got a couple other outside ventures that are going to kind of weigh into that. I'm hoping to. I mean, I think it'd really be a cool experience to go to AEW All in Texas. But right now, I would be at best a maybe, and we'll go from there. So gentlemen, in closing here, before we move on to our next question, on a scale of super kicks, 1 super kick to 5 super kicks, AEW Collision, I'm going to give it a solid 3.5. I think it was a pretty solid event. AEW, or sorry, ROH, I'd probably go 2 3/4 super kicks. I think there were a couple things that could have been a little more appealing, but I'm going to tell you this: if you get an opportunity, check it out. I'm not going to go into big detail, but some very interesting things will be taking place this coming Thursday night on AEW leading into Final Battle. And again, if you're a member of their subscription service, Friday night, Final Battle, make it a point, check them out. It's going to be a great night of pro wrestling. Gentlemen, I think we've talked pretty much everything we need to talk about AEW. But before we go, Hardcore Hoss, I know we got a few more questions in the Tumblr backstage. Can we go ahead and throw one more high spots question? I'm kind of ending it. We're a week from Christmas. I feel like I should be giving my input, my insight to the fans of the Wrestle Talk Podcast. So the Wrestle Talk Podcast family, we've got a great interview coming up in an hour or two, but I think we got time for one more high spots question. Do you think we can throw one more out the Tumblr here tonight? All righty, our final question here for the high spot segment. And we're waiting here. Intriguing. That several talents are departing TNA with potentially more following suit. Could this indicate a larger trend for the organization? Very interesting question. You know, I'm going to tell you, I want to go ahead and defer this to our scene here. Because right now, as we have here, we have 3 different points of view. We've had a lot of discussions about pro wrestling and our likes and dislikes. But our scene, I want to get your thoughts because, I mean, I know you're big into New Japan. You're big into things like Ring of Honor as far as following a lot of things that are going on. Do you think that this is something that would be concerning, something that would be indicating a larger trend?
Well, I just want to clarify on some of the talent departing, because I know Kushida is leaving. I was not aware of anybody else that was leaving. So does anybody have any like confirmation on who else is going to be going? Or
I know that I think Jade Chung, if I'm not mistaken, or one of the announcers is leaving. Trent Seven is confirmed that he is leaving the company. I do believe, at least on an injury front, I know that Hammerstone is going to have to spend some time off. I believe it's due to a knee injury. But like I said, those are about the only ones I really recall. Hoss, have you come up with any others?
Josh Alexander is rumored to be leaving. Jordan Grace is rumored to be leaving. Rhino, Trent Seven, they have already confirmed their exits. It's AJ Francis's contract is expiring.
I just found the article on that one. I was like, man, my boy AJ Francis is leaving too.
And you know, rumor has it, and like I say, I don't know this to be sure. I've just seen in dirt sheets. I don't know for sure though, that one of the reasons a lot of them are heading for the exit is TNA's asked all the talent to take a pay cut.
Woo!
Big oof. Ouch. I mean, and that's the jarring part of it, I think, is the fact that, like, in the case of like Kushida, I knew that he was leaving because he was just, sometimes that happens, you know. I mean, he has dates in New Japan, so I figured he's like, okay, well, he doesn't want to work in America and go back and forth, which is like understandable. But if it's a pay cut dispute, then that's a little alarming, especially because what was it? I know that people were curious about what was going on as far as Scott D'Amore wasn't running TNA anymore, right?
Well, and Arsene, I want to throw a couple other little carrots out here on this. Number one is the idea, kind of leading onto the Scott D'Amore deal, is I believe Maple Leaf Pro that he's been involved with. I believe he's actually included one of your favorite commentators, Mauro Ranallo, into the program as well. But a couple other things here is the idea of one, I mean, if we talk about Jordan Grace leaving TNA, I mean, come on. She was one of the first to be in this whole cross-promotional thing. I could see that happening. I mean, I know they got the Motor City Machine Guns out of the deal, things like that. But the other one is, and again, it's kind of really a 6 of one, half a dozen the other, of the idea of, could it be a trend? Because I know a lot of people have been talking about the idea, if you watched in the last few days, is the return of Tessa Blanchard to TNA.
I'm very glad you mentioned that, because if not, I was about to. And I was thinking that the significance in the amount of people, because I know in the case of some of them, it's their contract expiring, but was that the nail in the coffin that decided them not to resign? And, you know, jury's still out on that, but
you know something? I want to look at this, Arsene. I mean, I know Jordan Grace is on her way out. I get it. And again, if she's going full time to the WWE, props to her. Had an opportunity years and years ago. And again, I hopefully I can find it, share it on the Wrestle Talk Podcast Facebook page. I was referee for a match between Heidi Lovelace, now known as Ruby Riott, and Jordan Grace taking on the Hooligans. You heard me right. Jordan Grace, Heidi Lovelace taking on the Hooligans. And to see her go from there and the matches she had at St. Louis Anarchy and all the way up to potentially being in the WWE. She's on several WWE events. Props to her. I really don't know if that would be, I don't know if that would be a nail in the coffin kind of thing, though, because a lot of talent's there. But again, it's one of those where I know a lot of her issues were more based towards, and again, there's a lot of different things going on with it. By no means am I saying one thing was the reason why, but I really don't know. I mean, again, there's a very large exodus, but I mean, again, like you said, Kushida really didn't get a whole lot in TNA. Rhino was there for a bit. I think a Hall of Fame induction. Trent Seven, I mean, that's kind of where it is. To me, I look at it from a perspective of the biggest ones to me that kind of pop out there. If Jordan Grace is gone, yeah. I know he's not leaving the company, but I know that if Hammerstone's out any amount of time, that's going to be a hit for the company. And I got to say, if you lose a Josh Alexander, that's like Jordan Grace. You're losing a blue chip athlete for TNA. And
especially for somebody like Josh, like he was carrying that company for a while. Like he was definitely a figurehead and a pillar. So to lose somebody like that is like you're losing a very name brand person for TNA. And you know for a fact wherever he lands that he's going to be doing something good. So I'm with you on that especially. And then in my opinion, I think, because I know there's going to be a lot of people who disagree with me when it comes to this, but AJ Francis, as far as heat magnet, like if you're going to lose somebody like him, especially with his recent match against Nick Nemeth, like I remember the match that he had with PCO, there was a sign in the crowd that says, if Francis wins, we riot. I'm like, if you lose somebody like that in your company, that's on you. Like that's especially like, because everybody, it's good to have name brand recognition. It's even better to have somebody that can, you know, that you can get people to hate. Why are you making that face? You know I'm right.
Skywalker, wake up.
Hey.
Oh, what are we talking about again? Oh, wait, I forgot. You were taking 8, 9, 10 minutes of WTP time talking about AJ Francis, and
I will
I look at it that there are countless
time to talk about Top Dollar. Nobody is going to be refuting me on this. AJ Francis is money all day, and I hope I can take this clip out of context to show him because I know he's going to be on the show.
But gentlemen, when it comes to Top Dollar people, there's a man backstage right now who I'm sure he would just love to put his input in on this, and I'd love to bring him in and hear what he's got to say. So let's go ahead and bring him in. He is our resident chaplain here at WTP. Let's bring in the one and only Big Daddy P.
Probably hear me. If I can't hear you.
Big Daddy P, how you doing tonight?
Now I can hear you. Fabulous. How about you?
We are doing great, my friend. Great to have you with us tonight.
Hold on a second, guys. I'm going to need a minute. I think I did a little too much. I'm seeing about 9 Big Daddy P's, so bear with me a minute. Big Daddy P, I'm here. I'm going to stay loyal to the program. I'm going to stay loyal to the snippets of truth and Big Daddy P, but you're moving an awful lot, so hold on a minute.
I'm moving. What's the matter? What kind of drug you taking, son? Okay, very quickly, in regards to this TNA situation and the pay cut, they went from getting 2 hot dogs down to 1. Don't panic. No, that ship is going to sail on, boys, because I can tell you first and foremost that he's not going to lose any money. He will not lose any money. If he's losing money, it's not like he can put, he's not Tony Khan. So, and the whole deal with bringing in all the TNA guys to WWE. First of all, remember, we still have hanging out there one of the most well-known promoters in the entire world, who created the biggest, most international company in the world, is buying an entertainment company. So don't forget that. He's always in the back of our mind. We might not see him on TV anymore, but there will come a time that I believe he will show himself. If he doesn't go to jail first. So,
well, you know something, Big Daddy P? Again, a lot of things going on here. And again, we were talking earlier on about the idea of seeing, do you think right now that the WWE has taken what they feel is the best from the TNA roster, or is there still other wrestlers that you think might be appealing to the E?
Yeah, there's guys there. And again, but keep in mind this whole WWE ID. Remember how that plays in all of this, because then again, it's pro wrestling. Just because you have independent and you have international, it's still pro wrestling. And WWE still has the pick of the litter. They still have the most money that they can spend, even though Tony Khan is kind of like he spends money like I don't want to say what I'm thinking, but he just spends a lot of money and they ain't making any profit at all. And this TV deal and everything, and now with Warner Brothers Discovery and all the stuff going on there, we just have to remember that who's on NBC now? Hello. they just being on Saturday night. Matter of fact, have we gotten any rating numbers yet on Saturday Night Main Event versus Collision or whatever was on Saturday?
Well, I know that a lot of people have gone back there, and we're trying very desperately to get this information shortly here. But right now, as it stands, I do know that they were saying that Saturday night's main event was the one that did wind up winning the ratings here. We're going to go ahead and keep things going here, but I want to see, like you, Big Daddy Pete, by how
It's
much.
not hard to do. What, AEW's at like 500,000 now?
I Googled it. So it says pulling in 2.3 million viewers on NBC. And then not even if you want to just show them like numbers on there, 700,000 who streamed it on Peacock.
So
hold up here a minute. Guys, I want to throw this out here though, and again, I'm gonna get some flack for this one. When it comes down to it, and I can't believe I'm gonna say this, I'd probably be one of those in the minority who would rather have watched AEW Collision than Saturday night's main event. For something about the event itself just did not appeal to me. I don't know why. I got to tell you, probably the biggest thing of the whole night was Jesse Ventura and Pat McAfee. Other than that, I would have been much more inclined to watch Collision. That's just my thought.
Well, and we also know, too, that you're seeing 9 of me right now, so you're clearly not in a correct state of mind. So we'll just attribute that to that.
You're down to 4, Big Daddy P. You're down to 4.
Man, I miss you guys. I have been so busy. I want to apologize to all Wrestle Talk audience members who have maybe having prayers or have even thought about me. I'm thankful that God continues to bless our family and we continue to live in a world that some sense of sanity seems to be coming back into norms. Thank goodness to that landslide election, which, there's 2 things I like to talk about, politics and religion. If you have a problem with it, get out of America. Wait, did I say that out loud or did I think that? Oh, yeah, I said that. Okay. So anyway, guys, here we are in a very unique time in history. I just want you to remember what I'm saying today, because over the next 6 months, you're going to begin to see a country that looks a little bit different in it. That, remember, the United States of America is an evangelistic type country. When you bring in 20 million people into this country from all over the world, they come to America for a reason. And I think that's one of the things that makes our country so unique, is that we are a loving and caring country. We love people. We are an immigrant nation, okay? And, one of the things which we forget is none of us are from here, although we've been born here. But my kingdom ain't here, man. I'm in this world. I don't want to be a part of it, but I'm in it. But I love it. And the reason why I love it is because time is running out. And we have to understand that even if we had peace in the Middle East, which we had 4 years ago, even if we have all the things that we don't have now, we have to remember that God still has a plan. And part of that plan is using his church to impact this world. If we are just like the world, we're not going to impact them. He made us light. He made us salt. He made us all these things for a reason, that we can encourage this world, because there are a lot of people who don't believe in God, and they have a right in America. It's freedom of religion. You can choose not to believe in any God. That is your right. And as a follower of Christ, I'm not going to love you any less. Now, if you follow the Christians, they might judge and condemn you, but I follow Christ. Never can I find out where it says anything but follow me. He said, follow me. So I'm going to follow him, and love covers a multitude of sins. So whether if you're white, black, orange, purple, gray, if you're an animal, if whatever you are, my job is to love you and to remind you and let you know that God not only loves this world, but he put this world together so we could have a place that we could call home, because technically we're still home right now. That's where we are. Otherwise, you'd be somewhere else. So being that we're here right now, this is not a coincidence. This is not an accident. I know the Lord wants you to know that even during Christmas, which is a very stressful time, it is about gifts. There's nothing wrong with receiving gifts. But we have to remember the person who is the gift, who gives us not only life here, but life eternally after we're done here. So if you've never trusted in Christ, you can do it. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. All you have to do is recognize who you are and the price that you couldn't pay, that Christ paid on your behalf because he loved you. So be encouraged. Don't be discouraged. Don't let the chaos and sanity of this world take your mind off of the things that are more important. At times like now, family and friends are the most important because a lot of people are without people this year. Maybe someone lost someone this year who always on Christmas had time with them and they don't. So no matter how well you're doing, don't ever forget that those that are around you might not be doing as well. And that's why we're here, is to love and encourage one another. So there is your truth. And if you have any prayer requests, hit me with them and we'll pray.
I got one here real quick, and this is going to kind of sound strange here, just because of the timing. As you're well aware, a little over a week's time. Kind of ironic that a week from tonight is actually Christmas Eve, and a lot of people I know very well are going to be taking to the roadways this coming weekend to travel to be with loved ones, to travel to be with family over this holiday season. Like you said, a lot of people, Big Daddy, that are having to deal with things. I know that my wife and I have a couple big events that we really reflect on this time of year that are going to be taking place this coming weekend, end of this week into next weekend. And like I said, there's a lot of things going on, but again, the biggest thing is I would say to kind of give a shout out to those who are going to hopefully be able to make the journey to be with their family, and those who, whether you're talking about first responders or military or anything like that, they won't be able to be with their families this holiday season. So there are my requests. Gentlemen, are there any others we need to add this evening?
One that I have is for a wrestler from this area. She goes by the name The Great Sasaki. She is fighting stage 4 breast cancer. She originally announced it. I think it's been a little over a month ago. She announced it. And at that time, she had said she was going to finish out her bookings for the rest of the year and then start treatments after first of the year. And then they came back and said, no, you got to start now. So she ended up having to start chemotherapy. I believe last week she went through the first round of 5 treatments, and she was taken to the hospital again yesterday for complications. So just prayers for her. So, because we all know that prayer does heal. Because as a matter of fact, I asked you about, I think it's been about 8 weeks or so ago now, there was an accident involving a girl named Haley, who they didn't even know if she was going to make it through the night. But here about 2-3 weeks ago, they actually released her to a rehab facility, and she was only there for about 2 weeks when she was able to walk out of that rehab facility and go home. And she is home in time for Christmas, which was something her mother had really wanted. And, you know, had you asked 8 weeks ago, they would have said, ain't happening. But it happened. And that came from the prayers that she received from around the world. So we know that prayer does work, and that miracles are still being given out today. So
Absolutely. And, you know, one other thing, too, on a separate note that we didn't talk about, which I just want to spend about 10 or 20 seconds on, is I love how Jesse Ventura on his return back opens up the can of worms that they don't have a real heel commentator who knows how to call it, with Cody Rhodes and the chair and all that. He did such a wonderful job, and I'm thankful that they've been able to reestablish the relationship. He's still butthurt over the Hogan thing. I get it, but it was just great to have him back on that separate issue. So, because I know we didn't talk about that at all, but I'm just again, you know, there are a lot of people that have plans about going to bed tonight and waking up in the morning and doing all their Christmas stuff, and come to find out they're going to be face to face with the Lord. They're done. You know, so while we're here, we have an opportunity to change this world. Don't you gentlemen forget that in history past, the Lord has changed the world with less than 8. I mean, we can impact. The whole reason why we're here is to impact those who are around us. So continue to encourage one another, continue to love one another, and don't worry about the drones in the sky. You're imagining that. You ready to pray? Let's pray for the government. Oh, Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for your goodness and grace and all that you continue to do. I thank you for my brothers who continue to encourage those that you bring them in front of. I thank you for Wrestle Talk and all that you continue to do. I pray that you continue to financially bless them, that you continue to encourage them. We know there are a lot of workers right now, Father, who are injured, who are not working, not able to provide for their families. So I pray that they would, in the midst of this situation of adversity, that they would consider all that's taking place, that they would praise your name even in the midst of a storm. And we just pray that you would continue to heal their bodies, that you would continue to strengthen them, and you would bring them back to the love of pro wrestling that they have. I thank you so much that you continue to allow pro wrestling to be in our existence. We're so blessed to have so much wonderful work available for those that fall in love with this business and have just been a part of it. And we cannot thank you enough for those that came before, that set the pace for where we are now. And we pray for all those that are going to be in the future, who are future workers, Father, who we know that you have brought there to be an encouragement to those around them. So we're thankful that you continue to use us. We thank you for this holiday season. And Father, I just pray that you would meet each and every person who happens to be listening at their needs, continue to strengthen them and guide them. And we just love you so much, and we thank you. And we ask these things in Christ's name. Amen.
All right, Big Daddy P, ladies and gentlemen. Big Daddy, thank you for joining us. It's always a pleasure to have you. And I believe it'll be 3 weeks before we're back. Since, you know, next week is Christmas Eve and then New Year's Eve. So I believe it's the following Tuesday we will be back, and we look forward to you joining us again at that time for another segment of the Snippets of Truth.
That's 2025, right?
That is
A
2025.
brand new year. And hey, pray for Colmont, Tennessee. I'm going there Thursday to deliver a message to a very hungry and growing church. A very dear mechanic friend of mine named Kenneth. He said, God told me to start a church at this mechanic shop. He did. He has about 50 there a week right now. And he's been such an encouragement and such a blessing to the people in Colmont, Tennessee. So in your prayers, please pray for Big Daddy P as I deliver some truth to them that they need to hear, that they would be encouraged.
All right. We will definitely be sure to do that. So,
love you guys.
Big Daddy P, ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
Until next time.
All right. Well, gentlemen, I'm going to tell you right now, and I know we're getting ready here in just a few minutes. I'm going to level with you guys. I know who our guest is tonight. I've had the opportunity to have dealings with this man. And tonight, I'm going to do something that I normally don't do. And that is, I'm going to make it a point that I want to sit in the background. I want to watch Hardcore Hoss and Gabriel Arsene as they interact with tonight's guest. Because, gentlemen, I'm going to tell you right now, I am an objective broadcast journalist, but I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know, knowing people like Herb Simmons, like Danny Boy Hawkins, like Ron Powers, and my very close personal friend, the Night Train, Gary Jackson, for as long as I have. I don't know, gentlemen, if I'd be able to bite my tongue. So I'm going to go ahead, as you are my broadcast colleagues, my friends, my family, as a part of this great, wonderful world we call professional wrestling. I'm going to go ahead and tag out this evening because I know that the viewers of the Wrestle Talk podcast want the best for the program. And gentlemen, I want to say happy holidays. It's always a pleasure to be with you. And I look forward to seeing you both right back here on the Wrestle Talk podcast in 2025.
All right. Well, thank you, Luke. We appreciate you coming on and talking some wrestling with us. So we'll see you next year. All right, Gabe, are you ready?
I think I'm as ready as I'll ever be, man. I went MIA there for a little bit.
I really don't know, why everybody's all up in arms about our guest here. Honestly, the last time he was on, I believe it was the Night Owl and myself, or it might have been Luke Roberts and myself. I'm not sure, but
I'm pretty sure it was actually me and Night Owl, if I remember correctly.
I know I've had dealings with him before, and I got along with him just fine. I don't know. I don't know why people are so upset over him coming on, but I guess it just is what it is. So, I look forward to talking with this gentleman again, and I don't know how you feel, of course, but so. Would you like to do the honors, or should I?
I think you can take the lead here, if anything.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I would like to welcome our guest for the night. He is a gentleman who really needs no introduction, as he has been on Wrestle Talk a few times here, and he has been around the wrestling world for a good amount of time, and he has managed many a great talent. And so let's welcome him in here. He is the one and only Mr. Stephen E., ladies and gentlemen.
I love it.
Welcome to the show, Stephen E.
That's quite the introduction.
I tell you what, gentlemen, it feels good to be here. And just think about this. I could be anywhere in the world right now, but where am I at? I'm right here with you guys, and I love it. I love it.
And we love it too, man.
Definitely
an honor on the program.
Yeah, it's good to be back, guys. It's good to be back, man. A lot of things have happened since I was last on here, We'll probably touch on some of that, but yeah, it's good to be back, guys. Good to be back.
Well, actually, we can start with that. With what's happened recently here in the world of professional wrestling, and specifically for you, Stephen E. Because we know that this is we are catching you off of the back of a certain SICW event that happened recently.
Boy. Here's the deal, guys. If you guys have seen the footage, you know that the deck was stacked against me from the beginning. We've got her making these stipulations, and then of course, what do? They handcuff me next to Bob Orton, which basically, it makes it to where I couldn't do anything. Everybody knows Bob Orton, Ace Cowboy Bob Orton, WWF Hall of Famer. First and foremost, I'm not a wrestler. I'm a manager, and when you take, somebody like Cowboy Bob Orton and you put him next to me, it was very uncomfortable, so to speak. But yeah, SICW, I was this close to owning SICW, and it kind of imploded in my face, and so now I'm trying to figure out how to rebound from this and see where we can go.
Oh, okay. Well, let's be nice here, Lori. Let's be nice. Do you see this? Hello, Stephanie. Is this someone referring to somebody? Because I just want to start off by saying this, Stephen E. not many. It takes a very, very specific kind of person to be handcuffed to Cowboy Bob Orton. All right. Like I can't even, that's a man's man to do that. I can't imagine doing that. And I'm a Warrior Star champion. So the fact that you were able to do that,
you can only imagine, brother, the anxiety that I felt.
I ask what goes into your head when that kind of thing happens? I mean,
anxiety.
Exactly.
Anxiety, here you have Cowboy Bob Orton, father of Randy Orton, who just, I just, in the back of my mind, I kept thinking to myself, man, I could knock this old guy out. I could just hit him one time, but then I'd have to deal with Randy and all the people of Belleville, because you know what, let me just explain something to you. That city was not going to allow me to walk out with the ownership of SICW. Again, I can't even explain to you guys how the deck was stacked. Herb Simmons, he's not a dumb person. That's the one thing that I underestimated from everything. If I had to put my finger on one mistake, was the support that he has from the fans and his family. They absolutely love Herb Simmons up there in St. Louis, and maybe I bit off a little bit more than I could chew. But I tell you what, it's not over yet. You see, a lot of people have this misconception that I'm gone from SICW. Well, prior to this match, I had my attorneys go ahead and look at my SICW contract, and my SICW contract makes no mention of being let go, anything like that. So I am still part of SICW. Now they're going to have to deal with the repercussions of what happened in November. And we've got a show on January 10th that who knows, I might show up. I might show up and let everybody know what's next for Stephen E. As far as I'm concerned, this is round 2. Everybody saw the big fight a couple of weeks ago, and it wasn't over in one round. It took 8 rounds, and that was just round 1. He won round 1, and I'm disgusted with myself. I spent a lot of money in bringing Haku and the Barbarian in. There's no doubt about that. Everybody knows that. For me to come up short like that, it was rather embarrassing to my investors, and my investors weren't very happy with it. But they understand that Rome wasn't won in a day, and that this is something that if we really want to get things back on track, then we've got to follow a plan. The plan that I'm talking about isn't one that I'm going to share with you guys tonight, but let's just say I have a plan in order.
Well, and I want to, mention the old adage. Of course, it's, the battle is won, but the war is still there. So,
absolutely.
Exactly. And I want to take the opportunity here just to apologize. We have a Lori Burton in the comment section. She says she has history with you. You know who she is, and this is Granny Holster. I want to take the opportunity. Just to explain, I mean, who is she to you?
Granny Holster has been a thorn in my side for over 20 years. I can't go anywhere in northern Arkansas, northwest Arkansas, Oklahoma, or southern Missouri without her being there. And she is just somebody that she's always there. I mean, you can't turn around. Every time you turn around, you see her and her son Anthony, and they make me sick to my stomach. They're just no good fans that have no business even coming up and trying to talk to me, but they do try to talk to me. I do my best to try to avoid them because I just don't like them. She knows how I feel about her. She knows how I feel about Anthony. They just need to do their best. They just need to do their best and just avoid me.
And allow me to apologize personally, because, I saw where you posted earlier tonight about the fact that you had something to say. And, I saw some of the flack you were catching on that. And I made it a point to go in there and say, you were going to have your time to say what it is that you had to say. We were going to listen to you, and I would not stand for any disrespect to our guests. So I don't know who in the back is putting these comments up, but allow me to apologize for you for them allowing these comments to get through.
And I appreciate that. I appreciate that. So let me just explain something to you. There's one guy out there that just gets under my skin more than anybody, and that's you, AJ Wallace. You know who you are. I don't like you. I'm not showing up in O'Fallon. I'm not showing up to talk to you and your pals. Just leave me alone. Go right off into the sunset and just. Did I just see Herb Simmons pop up and say, wow, Stephen, Herb Simmons, I'm still around. You know that I'm not going anywhere. Herb, listen, I need to talk to you, Herb. I need you to give me a call. We can still rectify this deal, Herb. Sure, the All-American SICW team went out there and won, but at the end of the day, Herb, I've got cash, I've got money, and you've seen the offers. That's just a negotiation. That's just I'm throwing that out there to start the negotiation, Herb. You just need to get a hold of me, talk to me. Let's not let this go, go away. We can still talk about put money in your pocket. We can still talk about what I can do for SICW. Maybe I need to go about things a little bit different. Maybe I don't need to fire Dr. Drew. Maybe I don't need to have Ron and have Gary and have Danny Boy head the custodian team and sweep up after the shows and stuff like that. Maybe we can do something. Maybe we can co-promote. Who knows? With my money and your knowledge, Herb, we could take SICW to the next level. We could take it to new heights. I mean, everybody sees what's happening on Wednesday and on Monday nights. I want to bring that to SICW. And then whenever we fine tune it and we get everything down packed, I want to take it. I want to move it to the Middle East, and we might come back. I'm not saying that we're not going to come back, but I think that my investors at this point deserve to see some good wrestling, and SICW is what they deserve. And Herb, if you just give me a call, we all know AJ isn't a great fan. We all know. I still have to think that if I do take over SICW, Herb, that I will have to ban AJ simply because I don't like him. I just don't like him. But yes, Herb, call me, okay? Call me, please. Come on. Let's talk about this. My investors, my Saudi investors are patient, but they're not. I don't want this to turn into something that it shouldn't have to turn into. So please, Herb, pick up the phone, give me a call. If you don't call me, then I'm going to show up and I'm going to talk to you on the 10th. So let's leave it at that. If you can't give me a call, Herb, then I'm just going to show up and we can talk face to face.
Oh, and I think we have a response here. Quite the bold statement from Herb here. He says, "I believe you and Travis Cook have worn out your welcome."
Here's the thing. Everybody saw the big match from Belleville. Everybody saw what happened. Travis thought that he was doing the right thing, and it turned out that he wasn't. He tried to help. Ron Powers just hadn't been in a ring in 8 years, was starting to show signs of fatigue, and Travis got in there and tried to get him pumped up, and something went haywire, and I don't know. All I know, I was looking at Bob, trying to get away from Bob so I could go over and advise my team, and I'm getting pulled back, and all of a sudden I see Ron Powers slap a sleeper hold on Attila Khan, and it was over. It broke my heart, guys. I'm still in shock. I'm still in shock. I mean, we're 3 weeks removed, and I still can't believe that it was right there in the palm of my hand, and it got snatched from me. And I thought Christmas was coming early, and obviously I had a lump of coal in my stocking that evening.
And you really haven't had the best of luck here lately, because we've already been talking about SICW, but then this past weekend, you were involved in, you managed a gentleman who was involved in a ladder match where you were assaulted from behind, and, your client came up a little short in that match, unfortunately. Why do you think people keep finding the need just to keep attacking you from behind and keep beating you down? I mean, do they think that they can't win against you any other way?
In Mid-States Wrestling, I am the manager of champions, and currently I manage the Southern Heavyweight Champion, Handsome Scott Hansen. And that match was just people are already screaming match of the year, candidate. I mean, it was a classic ladder match. Those guys just went in there and gave it all. Luke Langley, who just he's just a stud, guys. You know who he is. Everybody knows Luke. He's a stud, but he's not handsome Scott Hansen, and he doesn't have Stevie E in his corner. I was out there. Luke Langley, before the match started, decided that he was going to do a dive on me outside and take me out of the equation. So that's what he did. He took me out of the equation, which handsome Scott Hansen doesn't need me there to beat Luke Langley. He can do it himself. But, you know, obviously with my expertise and my skills that I provide them, the chances of him winning with me in his corner are a lot greater than if I'm not. Well, you know, I'm in the back getting medical attention, and I look over at the monitor, and I see Luke Langley climbing the ladder, getting ready to grab that championship. And you know, what did I do? I made my presence known again and went out there and it's no DQ match. So I wasn't doing anything that I wasn't supposed to. Let's get that right out of the way. I grabbed Luke and you know, when I pulled him down, I accidentally punched him. You know, I don't know how it happened. I guess just getting caught up in the moment. I accidentally punched him, and he turned around and he looked at me, and I immediately apologized, got on my hands and knees and apologized, and he kicked me right in the face. He kicked me right in the face and sent me out of the ring, just on the floor. I was on the floor like people step on the floor. I'm Stephen E. I don't deserve that. You guys know that, right? So as I'm on the floor, he goes up and guys, you have to watch this match. It was match of the year candidate. Like I said, it was something else. But at the end of the day, I have what they call as a cease and desist order against violence for the mid-state locker room. And going into this match, I didn't realize, nor did my attorney realize, that I had let it expire. You know, had I had my number one attorney, Lucky P. Larson, on it, he would have made sure that none of that would have ever happened. But the attorney that I had that was in charge of that cease and desist let it expire. It was expired by 6 days, and there's nothing that I can do about the fact that Luke Langley put his hands on me. But I'm going to get that put back into a judge's hands to sign off on that, because there's no reason why anybody should be putting their hands on me. I'm not a professional wrestler. I'm a manager. You know, that is a clear-cut case of assault. And that's what happened on Saturday was Luke Langley assaulted me. He assaulted me, and not only did he assault me, he cost me the opportunity to manage the Mid-States Heavyweight Champion. And to answer your question earlier, yes, they can't handle me on the outside. I am the best at what I do. When I'm out there, there is no questions about it. My phone rings all the time, guys, and I'm talking about not only local talent, I'm talking about talent nationally. They call me and they ask me for advice. They call me up and they say, Stephen E., look, baby, I need to know, what would you do in this situation? And I give them my 2 cents, you know. But I've advised world champions. I've advised tag team world champions. You name it, I've got them in my phone. They call me when they need advice.
Now, you know, Herb, I truly respect you, and you know, you are a great member of the Wrestle Talk family here. But you say that he cheated once again, but he's already pointed out this is a ladder match that has no disqualifications. Therefore, if there's no disqualifications, is there really cheating?
If Herb would have had it his way, he would have had me handcuffed to Cowboy Bob Orton. That's what Herb, that Herb thinks that it's a joke. He knew that if I was next to Bob Orton, that he would have me under control, that he'd have me tamed. That's ridiculous. You cannot take somebody like me and handcuff them next to somebody like Bob Orton. You see, I need to be able to talk with my clients, Attila, Haku, Barbarian. I couldn't go and advise them. I couldn't go talk to them about certain things and give them my insight that is so important in the world of professional wrestling. You know, I mean, for example, everybody knows a certain individual. There's a young man out there who has set the world on fire. His name is Astonishing Austin Muitalo. Everybody knows him, right? Everybody knows he's going somewhere. Well, guess what, guys? 2 years ago, I started managing Austin Muitalo, and look at what has happened in the last 2 years to that young man. He has went straight to the top, all because he listens to me. He understands that the advice that I have will take him to the top. And look where he's at. He's in New York on Saturday night. You know, you think that just, you know, and I'm not taking anything away from him. The young man has talent. We all know that. But do you think for just a second that the influence by Stephen E may have something to do with his rise. I don't know. Scott Hansen's another one. Look at that guy. That guy, $1 million. But without Stephen E in his corner, I don't know. I don't know. And that's the thing, guys. I want to take the next generation of talent, and I want them to succeed. I want them to take spots that how do I say it? That they never thought that they would be able to go to. Look at Scott Hansen. He's been under my learning tree, under my tutelage for a year, 10 months, I think is actually what it is. And look at he's the current mid-states Southern heavyweight champion, and his phone rings off the hook, ready for him to come here, come there, do this, let's do that. It's just amazing. It's amazing what happens, with people. Look at Lilith Khan. Lilith Khan right now, she is probably one of the most touted female superstars in the world of wrestling right now. I mean, everywhere we go with her, we're in Las Vegas. Kurt Angle wants to talk to her. Kurt Angle wants to meet her. The Rock's mom wants to come up and talk to her. All of these people are talking with her because of my connections, because of who I am. They recognize who I am. They know who I am. They know what I'm capable of doing, and they see her. And you know what Kurt Angle told her? Kurt Angle went up to her and told her, "You are in the best possible hands that you can be. You listen to what this man has to say, because this man will take you to the top of the business." Oh, Herb.
Well, I kind of want to piggyback off of what Herb is saying, and I want to, add to what you were mentioning, Stephen, which is the fact that you do have connections. And I wanted to ask, just how is it that an individual such as yourself is able to get somebody like Haku, like the Barbarian? I mean, those are some pretty name brand recognition kind of individuals in the wrestling industry. So, I mean, how do you have an opportunity to be able to get those people to fight on your behalf?
Gabe, it's actually really, really, really simple. It's really simple. And let me, I'm gonna make it as simple. I'm gonna make it so simple that even AJ Wallace can understand. Okay. Cash money. That's how you get people's attention. I've said it before in the past. When you've got the money, you make the rules. When you've got the money, you make the rules, and I can't say any better than that. I know it's probably going to be tough to see, but that right there, 11633 Rolex date just a lot of people they'll never know what it feels like to wear something around your wrist that probably costs more than most people's cars, but I've got money. I've got it like that. You guys have seen my jewelry. I've got a freaking chain on my neck that, probably costs more than most people's houses. I've got jewelry that just would make your wife jealous, and it comes down to this: cash money. That's how you make things turn in the world of professional wrestling. Again, I've had people call me up and they say, "Stephen E, look, baby, I've got this issue, yada, yada, yada." I said, hold on, what do we need to do to take care of this? Well, I need to. Okay, I'll go ahead and send it over to you, and that's just the way it is. Money makes the world go round. Everybody knows that. And whenever I hooked up with my investors in Saudi Arabia, it just got better for everybody around here. Everybody around here felt the generosity of Stephen E. Everybody knew that. Look, I even let Big Joe Helms go. He stole $5,000 from me. And you know what? $5,000 to me isn't even worth the time of day to even go out and do anything. So it's bribery, Stevie. You know what, AJ? You guys already apologized for some of these comments, so I'm not going to let them get to me. I'm not going to let them get to me. I tried to explain to AJ that this is an international. He's dealing with local, local schmocal stuff. This is far beyond his intelligence. We're talking international. Whatever, AJ. Just whatever. Go play Fortnite or whatever it is that you play. But, at the end of the day, guys, what makes the world go round, my world go round, is cash money, and I've got a lot of it.
And then if I have the opportunity here, I'd like to take a chance to play a little bit of a word association with you. So I was figuring I could list a couple names here, and, the first thing that comes to your mind, just to kind of, get the Stephen E opinion on things.
Yeah,
so just to run it down here. I guess let's start with the obvious one, just because we've gotten a couple of comments from him. Herb Simmons.
Gosh, man, Herb Simmons is he's as closest wrestling deity there is in St. Louis. If there was a Mount Rushmore of promoters for St. Louis, obviously you would have Sam Mushnick, you'd have Larry Matisick, and then you'd have Herb Simmons. And to be honest, I wanted to be that fourth person on that wall. I wanted to be able to take SICW in St. Louis, to the next step or the next level. And I think what Herb has done for professional wrestling in St. Louis is it speaks for itself. Herb Simmons is I just can't say enough about his accomplishments in professional wrestling. Now, as far as a businessman and doing the right thing, I think he's an absolute fool. I think he's an idiot. I think he should have took the money and he should have ran. But he's been promoting for 52 years, and look, here's the deal. You have to evolve. If you don't evolve, then you're going to sink. And, I'm afraid that Herb Simmons is going to take this 52 years that he has been running SICW and professional wrestling in St. Louis, and he's going to just let it go to the wayside. With me and my investors, what we were offering was a cash injection. I wanted a like a Titantron style screen. We were going to bring in a lot of money, and we were going to add a whole bunch of lights. We're going to add a whole bunch of smoke. We were going to get up to date cameramen, all that good stuff. I wanted to turn it into a global product, and obviously they didn't want that to happen. And they got what they wanted. So now I'm going to spend the next couple of months trying to making their life living hell. That's what I want to do. I want to make their lives a living hell for embarrassing me, because that's what Herb did. Herb ultimately embarrassed me. He ultimately embarrassed me. Danny Boy Hawkins, that embarrassed me. Ron Powers embarrassed me, and the Night Train Gary Jackson embarrassed me. I've got a bone to pick with each and every one of them, and I'm telling you, this is far from over. Over. Travis Cook and me have sat down, and we've talked about the future. And I'm not sure if the future of what I want to do is going to include Travis Cook, but we're going to sit down a little bit more and talk about that later. And we'll see what happens, moving forward. But I think that Herb is a fool for not taking the money, and anybody who thinks otherwise didn't understand the enormity of the amount of money that I was offering him. And let's just face it, boys. If I offered any of you guys the amount of money, if I offered you 25% of the money that I offered Herb Simmons for that company, then you guys would have took it and ran. I thought I was being very generous. But like I said, I underestimated Herb Simmons. I underestimated his passion, and I underestimated his love for the fans. And I'm gonna have to do my best to try to not let that happen again. I cannot underestimate him in the future. He's got a lot of friends in this business, as you guys know. You guys see the Fan Fest. You guys see who's coming in. These are a lot of his personal friends. So look at what I'm against. I'm already butting up against a brick wall. But I think that Herb, I just don't know. I don't know why Herb wouldn't take the money. I don't know if it was AJ Wallace. Yeah, AJ. I don't know if it was you talking to Herb, sending her messages, explaining your love for SICW, but it doesn't matter. The fact is that there was a lot of money on the line. And AJ, if you did have something to do with it, let me just tell you this. You have probably cost their grandchildren a lot of money in the future. And if you're all right with that, and you can live with yourself, then no, I didn't throw it. I did not throw the Bruiser Brody Cup in the trash. No, I did not. I sent the Bruiser Brody Memorial Trophy over to my investors in Saudi Arabia, in which they took it and they put it up on display for all of the people to see. You know, you're just not happy because why would I throw that? That's such a coveted trophy. There's so much history behind that trophy. You think I'm going to throw something like that away? You're ridiculous. It's ridiculous that you would even think that. And I'm not going to blame Haku. I'm not going to blame the Barbarian. Who I'm going to blame is I'm going to blame Herb Simmons. I'm going to blame Danny Boy Hawkins. I'm blaming Gary Jackson, Ron Powers, and even Bob Orton. You know, it's ridiculous, guys. You know, I mean,
I do want to take the opportunity just to throw them out there because those actually were the next names that I had on my list. So I just start with, previous, guest here on the Wrestle Talk podcast, Gary Jackson. I mean, thoughts on him?
Word association with Gary Jackson. Man, the rules that when I think of Gary Jackson, I think of those stupid rules and how I wanted to add one of those rules, don't forget the rules, blah, blah. Gary Jackson's been in this business for a long time. You guys know that. Gary Jackson's been around forever, and he is tough as nails. Former SICW Classic Heavyweight Champion. I mean, the guy is tough as nails. But when you talk about tough, I don't even think you can have a conversation without throwing Barbarian, throwing Haku's name into the equation. I thought between Haku and Barbarian that I thought that I could take that would take care of Ron Powers and take care of Gary Jackson. Danny Boy Hawkins, I'm not going to lie. I feel like I underestimated Danny Boy a little bit. He was a lot more spry than I anticipated him to be. He really brought it to the table. And when it was all over and done with and the smoke cleared and I watched the video, I recognized, and this is a lot for me to admit. I recognized that I should have given Danny Boy Hawkins more credit than what I was giving him. I thought that he would be a laydown. I thought that we would just steamroll Danny Boy Hawkins. And I thought once we steamrolled Danny Boy Hawkins and we would take out Gary Jackson and then Ron Powers and we'd walk away. I didn't give him enough credit. And you know what? Because I didn't give him enough credit, I paid the price. I walked out of there a loser, and if I'm given another opportunity, that's not going to be the case. I brought in the world's toughest professional wrestler and the Barbarian. Those guys right there in itself, they bring fear. The faces of fear. They were my faces of death. Pair them up with Attila Khan. I don't think that there's one person in attendance that night that thought that what was going to happen was what happened. I think that everybody came in there to basically wish Herb well in his future endeavors, like send him off to, to the beach, whatever. It didn't happen. Like I said, I underestimated Herb. I underestimated his love for the fans, and I underestimated his team. And damn it, that's going to haunt me for the rest of my life.
And you mentioned about the loss and about going forward. So I guess I want to ask is what is in Stephen E's future, especially in regards to SICW. I mean, yeah. you do talk in less vague sense, but I guess what's step one for your plan as far as when you're going to come back or how you plan on coming?
Step one is to sit down with Attila and Lily, Uber Destroyer, and Peyton Ayers and explain to them that I can't put what happened on anybody else. Let's just put that out there. I can't put what happened in November on anybody else. I am solely responsible for that. The buck stops here. I've talked with a couple of the members of Devastation Incorporated, and they seem to understand. They are ready to move forward. I talked with Attila Khan via his interpreter. He is not, let's just say everything is good in the camp, but the way that it went down a couple of months ago in Belleville with the captain's flag match. Again, Danny Boy Hawkins come up to assault me. I drew back my flag to use it as a weapon because, again, I'm not a professional wrestler, guys. I'm a manager. So I pulled my flag back to strike Danny Boy Hawkins. And whenever I swung it at at Danny, the referee turned and saw me swinging that flag and interpreted it as a wave, which got them to name the stipulation being that they wanted to take me out of the equation by handcuffing me to Bob Orton. And ultimately Attila wasn't happy about that, but I was able to sit down with him and explain to him and kind of give him my perspective on it and go from there. But needless to say, Attila was not happy with the outcome of November in Belleville, and I have got to sit down with Attila, and we've got to smooth some stuff over, and pick up the pieces and move forward. Really, that's all we can do. Look, the sun shines on a dog's butt every now and then. I'm not gonna sit here and say that mistakes weren't made in leading up to this this big match that we had, but I'm accepting my responsibility in it, and we're gonna have to get the band back together. And we're gonna have to do some soul searching, figure out where we're gonna go from here, figure out what we want. As far as I'm concerned, I would definitely love to see Attila get another chance at the SICW Classic Championship. We've got the Fan Fest coming up. Obviously he's going to want to go in there and defend his Bruiser Brody Memorial Cup. I know AJ thinks for some reason I would go and throw something like that in the trash, but at the end of the day, that is a historic trophy. Every year since its inception, that trophy has been gifted to the winner by Barbara Goodish, and last year, I don't know if I would say gifted, but Attila took it from her, and it's in our possession. At the end of the day, guys, I want what is best for Devastation Incorporated, and what is best for Devastation Incorporated right now is for us to lay low and to kind of let the landscape play out in SICW, and maybe be a little bit more calculated in our moves and not be so pompous. I got a little too confident, guys. I got a little too confident in you guys may not, you may never understand this. When you have access to millions of dollars, it might change you a little bit. You start seeing dollar signs, and it makes you do things. I wanted more than anything to succeed in purchasing SICW, and I hit a brick wall, and for that, frankly, I'm kind of embarrassed. By it, but at the end of the day, I'm going to pick myself up, and I'm going to pull my pants up. I'm going to cowboy up, and I'm going to come back. And if you think what you saw before was devastating, wait until you see me now. Now I'm pissed, guys. I'm pissed. So when I show up to SICW, I may bring somebody else with me. There may be a new member of Devastation Incorporated. You never know. But at the end of the day, I still have the Saudi investors. They're still there, guys. They're still, don't think that they didn't go away after explaining to them, telling them the whole Rome wasn't won in a day, all that stuff. They realize it. They know. And one thing about my Saudi investors that most people will never understand is that my brothers in the Middle East, they're not cowards. They don't run. They're going to meet you. They're going to meet you right there. They're fight, flight, or freeze. And my guys are fight. Most everybody I know is flight or freeze. Now my guys will meet you head on, and and you may not like the results, but everybody knows how tough they are. At the end of the day, guys, to answer your question, what are we going to do? We're going to come back even stronger. We're going to come back more devastating. And to be quite honest, like this is all kind of on Herb Simmons, conscience. Everything that's going to happen here forward could have been prevented by Herb, and because he didn't, everybody has seen me at my worst, at least they think that was me at my worst. You're going to see something that far exceeded anything that I did before. And it doesn't have to happen. It didn't have to happen. It didn't have to happen, but Herb's kind of forced my hand. And like I said, luckily for me, my contract with SICW is pretty ironclad. I'm going to be there, but at the end of the day, like there's not even Herb Simmons can fire me, so to speak. There's no firing me. I'm there, there's nothing that anybody can do about that. But, it just, guys, I just had this vision. I had this vision for SICW, and even the infamous AJ Wallace had given me an acronym for a name. He called it. He said one time, "This is an SACW, Saudi Arabian Championship Wrestling." And I thought to myself, that's it right there. That's it. That is it. That just has such a good ring to it. And I even wanted to give him credit.
You should trademark that. I mean, I definitely think that would work.
I wanted to even give him credit, but I don't know. I think he may have been embarrassed because it sounded like such a good name that he didn't want to have anything to do with it, because you guys know how he is, yada yada yada, whatever. But yeah, I'd love to sit down and talk with Herb. I'd love to be able to try to hash some things out. I know that November we kind of established who owned SICW, but that doesn't mean that we can't go back to the table and negotiate a little bit more. That just means that maybe I need to ante up the price a little bit more. I don't know, but we'll see. Tune in. January 10th will be in. I think we'll be in Belleville on January 10th, so should be something. Should be fun.
And I'll let Gabe have a couple more of his word association things there real quick. But before I do that, I just want to say, even with all the negative comments I see coming in, I have seen you take responsibility for the loss. I've seen you admit your shortcomings. I've seen you, I've just seen you take a lot of responsibility here, and that's something that very few people seem to do these days, is take responsibility for things. And I think that's very big of you, and that in admitting places that you were wrong is something that a lot of people have big issues with these days. So, even with all these negative comments, I see a lot of positive qualities.
I appreciate that, Haas. I appreciate that. Accountability is something that I don't think we have enough of in this world. And I want to take accountability for my shortcomings. And it is what it is. It happened. There's no reason that I should be crying over spilled milk. It doesn't. And to be honest with you, this may open the door up for other promotions that I might be interested in. Who knows? You never know. Mid-States Wrestling, is a hot promotion here in Southern Missouri and Northern Arkansas. In fact, December 28th, they'll be up in St. Joseph, Missouri, for a big show up there. You never know. I may try to focus on purchasing Mid-States Wrestling along with SICW. This isn't over. I can tell you that. It's not over. It's just a hiccup. It's just a bump in the road, guys. In the world of business, I didn't get to where I am because I just laid down after everybody, told me, I'm not going to do this. No, guys, like, let me talk to you. Let me talk to you. And let me explain why you should sell. I'm not saying that I can sell Eskimo ice, but I might be able to talk to me. All I need is 5 minutes and a chair to sit down, talk to anybody, and and at least get their attention. And I know I have your attention, Herb. I know I have your attention. Like I said, I underestimated the fans. I estimated the love that you have for the fans. And again, maybe I need to go up. Maybe I needed to go about it a different way. Maybe going about it the way that I went about it. Maybe it wasn't the right way to do it. And we'll have to sit down and figure something out. That's very long-winded. So, Gabe, you go ahead and hit me with some word association, baby.
You had gotten ahead of me there. I just wanted to start. So we had already taken, Herb Simmons. I had already mentioned Gary Jackson. I guess just to throw it out there, Bob Orton. I mean, I know we all have respect for the gentleman, but being handcuffed to him, I'm sure makes you feel a certain way about him.
When we were at the Worldwide Technology Racetrack, there was a moment where I got up to let the referee know that he wasn't doing his job. And Bob came over to me and pulled me down, and he gave me one of his rights. And I tell you what, my eye was blacked. So obviously going into this, I was already on eggshells. I was already a little nervous. I didn't want, my anxiety was through the roof. I couldn't sleep the whole night before, not because I was nervous about the match, but I was just nervous about being handcuffed to Bob. And here's the thing, in Bob's old age, back in the 80s, Bob was known to take a little bit of a payoff. Everybody, Bob was one of those guys that you need to get something done, just throw a couple Benjamins his way and he'd take care of it. Well, the Benjamins obviously have turned into a little bit more than a couple Benjamins, but at the end of the day, like I thought I could talk to Bob and try to get something figured out. But again, Bob is one of Herb Simmons' best friends, and again, it was stacked against me. I was never going to be able to get a one up, and Bob kept me in check. Every time that I tried to pull away from Bob to go whisper something to Attila or to Barbarian Haku, he would pull me. In fact, he pulled me one time. I thought he broke my wrist. That handcuff was it hurt so bad. So it's like after he had pulled me in, I didn't even want to try to step, get too far away from him, because every time he pulled on that, it just hurt. It hurt. I don't know about you guys, but I ain't no criminal. I'm not one that is used to being in handcuffs. So, being put in those handcuffs, that's the first time I'd ever been put in a set of handcuffs. And, on top of being next to Bob Orton, being in handcuffs, I think I've got a little PTSD, guys.
Certainly the kind of experience you don't shake off, I would imagine.
No. But Bob is Bob needs to relax. He needs to relax a little bit. And man, I just, Bob's not listening. Is he?
We can neither confirm nor deny at this moment, but I don't believe he is.
Okay.
So I think we should be good.
Okay. The last thing I need is Bob, showing up at my front door,
I think we all can do without Bob Orton.
I don't want anything to do with Bob Orton. In fact, I'll go ahead and turn my cheek and not, I don't have nothing bad to say about Bob. Bob's a great guy. Let's just say that. Bob's a great guy, and he's good at cribbage.
Now, I've done a lot on the side of Team SICW. We mentioned Bob Orton, we mentioned Gary Jackson. So I want to take the opportunity to mention some, individuals from Devastation Inc., because I'm sure you have a lot to mention about them. So let's start, with the man that you're managing, Attila Khan.
Gosh, the most dangerous wrestler on God's green earth right there. That man right there. When you show up for an Attila match, what do you show up for? You show up for violence. You show up because that guy, the guy has been around for 30 plus years. He's a respected veteran. Look at what he's done, and look at his daughter. Lily Khan. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. You see her in the ring. He has taught his daughter to be an amazing athlete, and she is. That guy right there is looking out for the next generation of professional wrestlers by having his daughter come to the ring and becoming a wrestler. The guy is just a monster. Tough as nails. I don't know very many people that want to go into a match with Attila Khan. Nobody wants to go into a match with Attila Khan because Attila Khan doesn't wrestle. He fights. And at the end of the day, man, I don't want to fight Attila Khan. I don't want to fight Attila Khan. That's why I was so kind of taken back by, when Danny Boy caused me to wave that flag. I could see how upset he was. And the very first thing that I needed to do was just make sure that he that he wasn't going to be upset with me because of what happened. And although it took a little bit of convincing, he finally understood what. Did Herb just ask me if Attila has woke up from it? Of course, Herb, that he woke up. He woke up that night later on. I don't even want to get into that, but Attila Khan, 30 plus year veteran. It just, where do I even start? The man, you never know, because a lot of people have been on the other side of a fork, a lot of no DQ matches, and he can have that thing. And, he is, he literally is the most dangerous wrestler on God's green earth, man. I mean, he's a monster, and I don't want to be on his bad side. And I hope none of you guys ever get on his bad side, because if you do, there's going to be hell to pay.
Well, and I like to imagine, even with the rules in place, I don't think that would stop somebody like Attila Khan.
No, it certainly wouldn't stop Attila Khan. We were down in Jonesboro for the Mid-States Wrestling Legends of Memphis Fan Fest that they had down there, and we wrestled Gary Jackson that night, and we got into the ring, and it was heated. I think there was about 1,300 in attendance, and it was heated. We came out, it was just deafening. And there was one guy in particular that just one guy that I looked at Attila, and Attila looked at me, and I just thought, like, that guy better not jump over the rail, because if he jumps over the rail, Attila will destroy that guy. And to be honest with you, I think that Attila was waiting for the guy to jump over, and luckily for him, he didn't. But man, oh man, I would not want to be on the other side of fighting Attila Khan, because that's what it is, guys. It's not a wrestling match; it's a fight. You can ask Gary Jackson, you ask Ron Powers, you ask Danny Boy, you ask anybody who's ever Big Texan, you ask Bobby D. It is a fight. It is a fight, and not only is it a fight, it's a fight for your life.
I was going to say, I'm like, a fight if you have the fight in you to take it back. If anything, I'd say it's surviving Attila Khan.
No, absolutely. That's a good way to put it. You don't fight Attila Khan, you survive Attila Khan.
But if we could throw it out to just a few individuals, I mean, we had mentioned them earlier, but I guess I'd just like to know your piece on them. Mang and the Barbarian.
Oh, man. Most dangerous wrestler, in the world,
I feel like Khan and them are cut from the same cloth. Really.
Oh, absolutely. Well, a lot of people don't realize that Khan and Haku are best friends. They are best friends. And, so yeah, growing up, you always had to worry about, somebody's backup. God, could you only imagine just getting into a scrap with Attila Khan and looking behind him and in the crowd, and you just see Haku or Ming just sitting there and just waiting for somebody to jump in so he can go in and just bite their face off. Ming is a tough son of a gun. I don't understand what happened. Again, I underestimated the passion that Ron Powers, Danny Boy, and Gary Jackson had that night, because boy, did they bring it, man. They brought everything plus more. I never expected that match to go the way that it did. And when the bell rang, even with me handcuffed to Bob, I played multiple scenarios in my head before that match, and every scenario that I played in my head ended the same way, with us coming out on top. And just by happen chance, it didn't work out for us. But it still doesn't change the amount of respect that I have for Haku. It doesn't change the amount of respect that I have for Barbarian. It cost me a lot of money, guys. It cost me a lot of money in a losing effort. But, at the end of the day, it takes money to make money, and I don't think Haku was apologizing to me profusely in the back. He told me that he would give me money back because the job didn't get done. I told him to keep it, that there's more money to go around. Haku didn't turn his back on me. Barbarian didn't turn his back on me. Herb, I don't like, the last thing I need you to do right now is to start rumors and innuendo. I don't need that. I don't need that kind of stress. So please don't do that. But Haku and Barbarian guys, ever since we were kids, we've heard stories of these guys. So, being able to know that I've got their phone numbers in my phone and that I can call them and get them a red eye, to Illinois or to wherever I need them to go to take care of business. That's a good feeling. I think that if everybody had the connections that I had, that they would be a lot better off. But unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. I've been in this business a long time, and I've made a lot of friends. I've made a lot of enemies, but I've made a lot of friends, and some people that you may not even realize I'm friends with. But I won't elaborate on that. But
Well, and I do want to mention that you talked about Haku being the to follow up with Attila Khan. I'm just thinking, I can't help but think of, if Haku is the backup, who do you send up after that? Just kind of put that into perspective.
Yeah. Think about that for a second.
But to wrap up here, just to kind of throw it out there, just a bit of a curveball, but right down the middle, if I can, Stephen E.
Man, word association, Stephen E, manager champions, baby. I've managed so many people. I don't count. I don't do any of that stuff because, I've got people that call me all the time and they're asking me for advice. I've got people that want me to, I've turned down 4 or 5 bookings already on the East and West Coast because of my commitments here. I'm in demand. I'm literally working every weekend, and I've got companies calling me, wanting me to come over and not even necessarily manage over in their company, but they just want advice. They just want to be advised in how things should run. And at the end of the day, I am a businessman. I am a businessman, and I know how to make things work. A lot of people have said over the years, that I'm evil, that I'm a scumbag, this, that. You know what? At the end of the day, by hook or by crook, I'm going to get the job done. I've said it in the past, and I try to tell people I am a role model to the youth of America. And saying that, I tell people that I'm a role model, and I also tell people that if you're not cheating, you're not trying hard enough. Think about that for a second. If you're not cheating, you're not trying. I don't care how I get to the top. The only thing that matters is if I'm at the top. It doesn't matter how I got there, a lot of people don't understand the mindset that Stephen E has. I've been in this business for 26 years, and I've managed everybody from Kamala to Mr. Saturday Night Michael Berry, Roosevelt, Gary Graham, Attila Khan, Peyton Ayers. When you think about the who's and the what's that I've done in this business, it's really easy to understand my mind in professional wrestling. I am literally an encyclopedia of wrestling. I think even AJ didn't your boy Renee, he challenged me to a trivia contest the last time I was on here and lost. That's right. Yeah, he did. He lost. So I'm not a dummy. I'm not a dummy. I'm very well versed when it comes to professional wrestling. And at the end of the day, if Stephen E is a part of your organization is better.
And before we go into our game show challenge, as we normally do to end up, I'd like to throw one name out there myself, just to see. Since he had to hightail it out of here all of a sudden himself, how about the one and only Luke Skywalker Roberts? What do you have to say when it comes to
Luke, you make me sick to my stomach. I'm glad that you're not here enjoying our time that we have had. We've been going for 30 minutes, guys. I've had a great time. I've had a great time. And I appreciate everything that you guys have done for me in accommodating my schedule, because I'm a little bit busy. But as far as Luke goes, I don't like him. I never have liked the guy. I'm a fan of the Wrestle Talk podcast, and anytime he comes on, it makes me sick to my stomach. It makes me sick to my stomach. He's friends with Gary Jackson. He's friends with Ron Powers. You know what? I don't care who he's friends with. He did the right thing by not staying on here, because he doesn't want to get into a battle of wits with me. He's not going to win. And at the end of the day, who cares? I'm sure your ratings are going to go up. As soon as I came on and he left, they probably went up even more.
Well, I just had to throw that out there. Means, he had to hightail it all of a sudden when it came to your segment. But, you brought up the game show challenge against the Night Owl, where you beat him. And, when we were in the production meeting and we were talking about the game show challenge, Gabriel Arsene himself said he didn't think Stephen E. could beat him the way he did the Night Owl.
Hey, before we get this challenge started, I want to give a big shout out to my main man, Don McGuire. I seen him. He posted a comment earlier. Guys, I don't know if you realize that you have a 10-time Hall of Fame MMA photographer in your audience right now. This guy is an absolute legend when it comes to photography and MMA. He has shot pictures for the UFC, Bellator, all these guys. The guy is a stud. Don, thank you very much for the kind words, brother. I love you, man.
So, all right. Well, are you game to take on the one and only Gabriel Arsene in our game show challenge?
I do believe that it's about time that I defend my championship, and you seem like a suitable opponent. You've been nothing but respectful to me, Gabe, so I will go ahead and defend my championship against you. And when it's, you know what, I want you guys to set something up, because you know what, I want to challenge AJ Wallace. That guy right there, every time I post anything, and he is always there being a thorn in my side. Once and for all, I want to challenge him after I beat you, Gabriel. I want to challenge him to a trivia contest. And I'm not coming to O'Fallon, Missouri. We can do it right here on the Wrestle Talk podcast. AJ Wallace, you bum. I want to beat you.
All right. Well, we'll have to see what we can do about that. AJ Wallace versus Stephen E. in a game show challenge contest. That might be very interesting. And AJ seems very sure of himself, asking you, are you crazy to challenge him? So,
yes, absolutely.
But let's go ahead and cue that music for tonight's game show challenge.
That was pretty catchy.
Welcome. I always tend to think of Mario Brothers when they're going through the castle.
No, you're exactly right. Yep. I've got these Mario vibes going. Yep.
So welcome to this week's installment of the world famous Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge. Tonight's contest is scheduled for the best 2 out of 3 falls and features Stephen E. taking on the young lion with the old soul, Gabriel Arsene. Tonight's category is December birthdays. I will give you information on 3 different professional wrestlers with December birthdays. When you think you know the answer, shout it out. The first person to win 2 out of 3 falls will win tonight's game show challenge. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Gabe, are you ready?
I'm ready to go.
All right. Question number 1. This retired pro wrestler has held countless championships around the world. He's known for innovating the moonsault, his accelerating elbow drop, and the use of the dreaded green and red mist.
Great Muda.
The Great Muda is correct. Stephen E. got it first.
Yeah.
If you want to get technical, it's KG Muto, but we're not going to get into the specifics.
The score is now 1-0 in favor of Stephen E.
Choke on that, Aaron.
Question number 2. The former Money in the Bank winner has been linked on camera to Mandy Rose and has been a member of Heavy Machinery and
Otis.
the Alpha Academy. Otis is correct.
Yes. It took me a sec. I was like, wait, Mandy Rose.
I don't know why, but when you said Heavy Machinery, I was thinking of Tucker. What? Like, he's not even. He was never even linked to Mandy Rose. It's like, but I don't know why. I didn't even think Otis. I thought Tucker.
So, all right, here we go. The score is tied up 1-1. So whoever gets this next fall will win the game show challenge for tonight. This WWE Hall of Famer has wrestled all around the world. Many professional wrestling personalities say that this Lucha Libre star took the cruiserweight style.
Rey Mysterio.
Rey Mysterio is correct.
No.
What was that? Gabe, come on. Oh,
I wasn't sure. It was a Hall of Famer. It could have been anybody.
No, man. I tell you what, a few years ago, we were at Cauliflower Alley in Las Vegas, and we were walking through the hallway because when the banquet was over, we went the alley, and me and another gentleman started walking down that alley, and Ray came up. Ray ran up to us and said, "Oh man, I'm a big fan." Blah blah blah. He's like, "Do you care if I get a picture?" I was like, "Sure." So it's kind of cool, to be acknowledged by a WWF Hall of Famer or WWE Hall of Famer,
What you're saying is you had an unfair advantage. No.
No, go ahead.
I wanted to mention, I believe we have some victory music for you once you're done here. I just wanted to mention.
Oh, let me hear it. Let me hear it. Let me hear what that music sounds like.
Well deserved here. Undefeated on the Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge, Stephen E.
Two-time champion.
So we can look forward to a third time then.
Hey, you know what? The third time is going to be a charm. It's going to be against AJ Wallace. Like, I can't wait, guys. I mean, like, I'm thinking that we could probably promote this, and this could be a big thing. Maybe have 90,000 viewers or something like that. Like, I know AJ Wallace is one of the most hated personalities in pro wrestling. So, I'm sure we could figure something out.
Well, I will definitely get with our production crew and let them know that you have thrown the challenge out, and see if we can't set something up there.
Oh, man. You
never know.
I tell you what, you get that set up and I will make a hearty donation to Wrestle Talk Podcast. And, I just want to be able to rub it in his face. More than anything, I want to just rub it into his face. Like, let me tell you guys something. That guy gets under my skin more than any other wrestling fan in the world of professional wrestling. No, I take that back. Granny Hulkster's pretty bad too, but that guy right there, I will take any opportunity to make him look foolish, and I will enjoy every minute of it, except for go to O'Fallon, Missouri on Thursday at 6:00 for a face-to-face meeting with him and his buddies. I won't do that.
Well, and if he pulls out the win, he'll probably want to challenge somebody like Stone Cold or The Rock or somebody like that.
You're giving him way too much credit already. I come on, Haas. I'm a two-time champ on Wrestle Talk Podcast. I'm about ready to just go ahead and check and see if you guys might DHL me a belt or something like that. Because how many wins do I got to get a belt?
I will check with the production crew on that one.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Willie, thank you very much, my man. Happy holidays to you. I love the Hendrixes, man. They're a great group of fans that go to just about every wrestling show that you could possibly imagine in the St. Louis area, and they travel far and from. I want to say they put in 3 or 4 hours on the road, to get to the shows and then turn around and drive it back home. So, they're a great family. His daughter, JJ Kidd, actually, you can catch her at New Breed. I think she does some announcing for a New Breed Wrestling sometimes. So, it's awesome to have met them and see her come up in the world of professional wrestling as an announcer. It's awesome. Good family.
So, all right. Well, before we get out of here, how about you let everybody know where they can follow you and where they'll be able to find you next?
Guys, I'm an old soul, man. My kids give me crap all the time because, I'm a Facebook person. I don't TikTok. I don't, Instagram or anything. So you can find me at, Stephen E. Stephen E. I just search Stephen E. or Stephen Espinoza. Let's see. My next show coming up is going to be December 28th in St. Joseph, Missouri. So we got a big show up there, headed back to the National Armory. We went there last year for a Christmas show, and it was a banger, guys. There's a lot of guys that work for us from that area, and this is the way that they get to showcase their ability. So I'll be up there on the 28th. And then the new year starts, guys. And once that new year starts, man, it's going to be pretty busy. January 10th, SICW at Belleville. We've got TV tapings the following Saturday. Saturday night, which is Saturday the 11th, I'm going to be debuting for Midwest Wrestling Coalition, Mia Tillicon and Lily Khan. We're Devastation Incorporated. It's going to be at Midwest Wrestling Coalition. That's going to be, this is going to be their first show, and we're looking to have a good time and make our mark in Midwest Wrestling Coalition. They've got a hell of a roster. The talent that they have on there. I'm looking forward to meeting, some new faces, but also getting in the locker room and visiting with some people that I haven't seen for a little while. So I'm looking forward to that. And, and then the schedule's just, guys, it's going to be the beginning of the year is always crazy. I think I don't have my schedule in front of me, but I think I'm working every weekend till July, next year. And, I've had multiple companies reach out to me and want me to come out and do some stuff with them. But, at the end of the day, I've got 2 promotions that I work for almost on a full-time basis. And that's Mid-States Wrestling with Jason Jones out of Southern Missouri, North Arkansas. And then, of course, Herb Simmons over at Southern Illinois Championship Wrestling. I'm not one that I don't feel like I need to go out and spread myself thin. I think that the promotions that I work for are the best of the best. I think that the quality of shows that we put out are second best to nobody. Those guys, Herb Simmons, man, I can say what I want to say about SICW and what I could have done with it, but at the end of the day, I think we had over 700 people in Belleville, which was a pretty big crowd. This weekend here in Springfield, we had right at about 500. And prior to this show right here, I want to say we've sold out Springfield 23 times. We're on fire in Mid-States, but I can't say I can say the same thing about SICW. So, if you guys get an opportunity, tune in every Sunday night to SICW All-Star Wrestling. If you guys get a chance to, if you're in the KSN network, which is down around Joplin, you can catch Mid-States Wrestling on Friday Night Fights every Friday night. It's an NBC affiliate. Those guys, I want to give a big shout out to the guys over at Friday Night Fight. Howie, Bubba, and Mr. Saturday Night, Michael Berry. Those guys are phenomenal. Thanks for the tickets, guys. I was up there. I heard you guys talking earlier about AEW. I was up there. I had some tickets for the Kansas City show and the St. Louis show, and had just a great time. There's a lot of people that want to say stuff about AEW, but man, let me tell you guys what. there is nobody out there that wants him to succeed more than myself. When you have competition, it makes everybody a little bit more competitive. And, when there was only one show in town, it kind of showed. I think now that there's some competition, I think, people are paying attention to other companies, and, they're trying to outdo each other, and we're getting some good quality wrestling on television right now, where, prior to a couple of years ago, it seemed like we were on a downturn. But All-Star Wrestling, Mid-States Wrestling, that's where you can find me. If you get a chance, go to midstateswrestling.com. They've got DVDs of our previous shows that you can purchase. I think it's like $22 or $23 shipped. You get that with commentary and all that good stuff. And then, of course, go to the YouTube channel and check out SICW All-Star Wrestling. It never seems to disappoint. It never seems to disappoint. The story that we had going for the last 10 months was an unbelievable roller coaster. It was an unbelievable ride, and I look forward to making some more magic once we get started again. So, yeah, if you guys get a chance, come check me out up at St. Joseph on the 28th, and then Belleville, Illinois on the 10th, and Midwest Wrestling Coalition. I can't remember the name of the city, but hit me up. We'll be live and in living color.
Absolutely. And it looks to me like, AJ might be already getting a little bit of cold feet to go against you in the game show challenge, because now he's saying, instead of a game show challenge, let's settle this in the Great Pro Wrestling Debate Part 2.
What does he mean, the Great Wrestling Pro? Like, what does he mean? He wants to debate me over pro wrestling. I think he has a much better chance of winning if he just goes ahead and gets some canned questions. It's like, we'll go ahead and, I don't know. His favorite wrestler is probably going to be like, I don't know, the Hardy Boys or something. So we'll just have him, when did Jeff debut? When did Matt debut? Feed him something that some canned questions, because he's got no chance in hell to beat me at anything, any other kind of trivia. It's just not going to happen, AJ. You might as well go ahead and quit. Stop. It's over.
So, all right. Well, it's been a privilege to have you on and to get to talk with you. And, we look forward to having you back again. And so just thank you very much for being here, and we look forward to next time.
Guys, thank you for having me, man. It's been a pleasure. Like I said, I could have been anywhere in the world, man. And for the last hour, I was with you guys. So think about that for a second. Guys, I appreciate everybody that came on. Even you, Aaron Wallace. I appreciate you. You guys have a good one, okay?
So thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you.
All right, Gabe. Well, been a very interesting night. Another great interview in the books, and we are once again in overtime here. We've been at this for almost 2 hours and 40 minutes here, so it's been another great night.
He demands 2 hours. All right, this is nothing short of that. All right, I do want to take the opportunity to ask if you had any final announcements we had to do before we cover our sponsors one last time.
Yes, before we get out of here, Dewan was going to try to join us, but he must have gotten tied up with something, because I don't see him backstage, and I've sent a couple messages with no response. So evidently, he's not going to get to join us here. But we did want to hit a FWWC segment, as we always try every couple weeks to do. As we've had a few great pay-per-views here lately, both main roster and the FED.
FWWC End of Days, actually, yours truly and Hardcore Host retained their championships. I finally got past the first defense, ladies and gentlemen. So soon to be your longest reigning Warriors Heart champion. But we had a lot going on in the FED in our developmental brand. Mr. CEO, well, I guess when he's in the FED, he wouldn't be considered CEO. Mr. Cactus Mills squared off against El Luchador de KC, and we had quite a. I believe we had a surprise return recently that I don't want to spoil, but.
Well, in the FED, there was no clear-cut winner in that. And, you mentioned you got past your first title defense. I think I got past my, um, however
But
many.
brag about it. Okay.
But yeah, we did have a good pay-per-view there, and they came to a draw in that one. And then we did see Taylor Marie win against Marcus Mayhem. They put together a pretty good program. And we saw
our
Rage.
Spartan Heart champion. I was going to say lose to Rage in very, very definitive fashion. I think nobody was expecting that the way the turnout that it did.
No, and Rage beat him in a very demanding way. And, so that was a big surprise. And then you had...
It was Nathaniel Jones.
Nathaniel Jones go against
Yoko
Kitsune. And I believe Nathaniel came out on top on that one.
He did.
So there was a lot of great matches and a lot of great action. And with that being said, I do have an announcement involving the FED. So let me hit this real quick. So without further ado here, the big announcement concerning the FED. We do have two superstars who, after conferring with the board of directors and after I have looked at everything that they've done down in Fed, are going to be moving to the main roster. So when we come back from our break, they are going to be main roster and are no longer considered FED superstars. So those two superstars will be none other than Rage and Taylor Marie. Those two have earned their right to be back on the main roster, and they have really worked a lot, and they have done a lot down in the FED, and they really put on a show and really put on one heck of a program. And so congratulations to the both of them, as they will be moving on to the main roster.
Fresh meat
next year. So there are two more now for the main roster, which is a good thing because our main roster is a little slim, and I know it hasn't quite been addressed, but at the end of my hardcore match at the pay-per-view, it seems that Jason Curtis decided that he was going to return to the FWWC. And Jason, you should have stayed gone. That's all I'm going to say. You should have stayed gone.
Things are shaking up here in the FWWC. And for those of you, please be sure to join. We are always looking for new competition. If you think you can try and take Hardcore Haas's title or my title, which is not currently adorning my shoulders, but we have plenty of feuds. We have plenty of individuals. We're all just a bunch of people that love pro wrestling. We love it so much to the point that we do these, but quite the announcement, Hardcore Haas. I'm definitely looking forward to it. I'm glad Taylor's back. She was on the main roster for quite a while. Rage, I never actually had the opportunity to square up against. So
all right. Well, it's been a great show, and let's hit those sponsors one more time here before we get out of here. And
promotional consideration paid for by the following.
So, as always, we want to thank our great and wonderful sponsors. We have Retro Zone. we have RetroZone as a great sponsor here joining us. We have Painter's Dream Productions out of the one and only Big Daddy P. He stepped up in sponsoring the Wrestle Talk podcast. We have the Independent St. Louis Hall of Fame. I-70 Sports Media, Jeremy Carpin, the guys over there, absolutely killing it. You got Little Popeye's Designs, where you get your very own Wrestle Talk podcast tumbler, just $20. Get your name on it, just an extra $5. Be sure to hit up any single one of us here at the Wrestle Talk podcast. We'll be more than happy to set you up, and you just pay the shipping on it. And as you just heard us talking about, the world's premier fantasy wrestling group, the FWWC. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't checked them out, be sure to check us out over there. Always a lot of action. We're going to be on a break for a little bit, I believe. There may be some special guest, bookers between now and then, but we'll see what happens. Dwan was going to be here and discuss a little bit about that, but he evidently got tied up. But those are our great and wonderful sponsors. Don't forget, send us some stars, ladies and gentlemen. You can send us stars. I believe you can buy them for as little as like $1 or something. And, you know, we get a little bit out of that to help with the costs of the show. And because we do have a lot of costs when it comes to StreamYard, when it comes to different things, you know, we do have some cost involved. And we also have a great and wonderful thing now, fan sponsorship. You know, Susie Haas stepped up. She was our very first fan sponsor. She said, I want to keep the show on. So she joined us as a sponsor. She was our first sponsor as a fan sponsor. So hit us up. You can be a fan sponsor as well. And don't forget, check us out on all of our great social media. So, Gabe, any parting words for us?
Not really. You caught me on the spot. I was so ready for you to call it out there. I can't even lie. I'm so sorry. Now it's on camera for millions of people to see. Other than, you know what, another episode in the record books, man. I mean, 505, we're on our way to episode 600. And, you know, hoping to see new people in the FWWC, hoping to see new fans here in the Wrestle Talk podcast family, hoping to see Stephen E. once again, hoping to see some new guests. We got a lot of people lined up, but, you know, down here from, you know, Gabriel Arsen in Florida, Riddle OG repping it up.
And don't forget, you can check us out on Spotify. Now we are on Spotify. So, you know, we're growing by leaps and bounds, and just so happy to be growing. And it's all because of you great and wonderful fans. So don't forget, we will be back in 3 weeks. January, I believe it's January 6th is our next show. You know, next week, of course, wouldn't be a regular show anyway, but we're going to take the time to spend with the families for Christmas. Hopefully you guys will too. And then the following week, we'll be spending New Year's with families for Christmas. So we want to wish each and every one of you a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and we'll see you right back here in 3 weeks with another great episode of the Wrestle Talk podcast. We'll see you.